Hey, Bonfire Premier Cup Series. This is your admin, Kevin Kyle, and I am proud to introduce to you your Season 12 primary sponsor, Animal House Customs. Get your favorite iRacing League logo or anything you can dream of on any hat or patch. Animal House Customs has a stitch for every itch. And in order to scratch that itch, visit animalhousecustoms.com or you can call Animal House Customs at 985-222-8065. Once again, that's 985-222-8065.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bonfire Race League Premier Cup Series. We are at the World Center of Racing, Daytona Motor Speedway, and there truly is no place like Daytona, and there is no place as fast, intense, with as much split-second decisions as this racetrack. We are in for a world of intensity and a great pre-race before we actually get to the Daytona 500 in NASCAR in just a couple hours time. I am super excited to be here. My name is Zach Panzarella. I'm going to be here on commentary today, and I got Mean Gene Money here with me. How you feeling, Mean Gene?
I'll tell you what, man, it is race day for the NASCAR Cup drivers, and it is race day for us here in the iRacing League, Bonfire Race League. We are live at Daytona, Zach. I am pumped. I can't wait to see what happens with this 31-degree banking.
I'm excited as well, Mean Gene, and 31-degree banking is nothing to sneeze at. It is some of the most intense banking we're going to see all season at any track, and there really is nothing like this place. And with that said, and just how special Daytona is to everybody and how important of a race this isn't just any broadcast, Mean Gene. I had to make it special. I had to bring in one more person, and we had to go three-man booth today. I didn't bring in just anybody. I brought in an iRacing Daytona 500 champion, Mean Gene. And as someone who did that race a couple days ago, I could tell you just how unbelievably difficult that is to do, because the best I could muster up was 26th place. I got Dalton Geyer here with me today. How you feeling, Dalton?
I'm feeling great. It's an honor to join some legends in the booth, Zach. I'll tell you what.
We're excited to have you here, man, today. And yes, we're going to be going to you a lot about different elements of the racing around this racetrack. This is such a complicated place to race. It looks so simple, right? It's just 4 turns, high banks, keep the keep your left foot down the whole time, but it really, really isn't that simple, and it's so hard to win here. And we got a full 95 laps here today, which is about almost half the length of the Daytona 500. That is a very, very long race. What are you anticipating to see here today in 95 laps and no fast repairs, Dalton?
Well, I think if it's anything like the splits that I saw in the special event, Daytona 500, I think we might see some single file, but if I know anything about the leagues, it usually gets a little more intense than that. So we probably will see some that high line open up. But yeah, Zach, I think it's going to be intense. If I know anything about these drivers, it's going to be intense the whole race.
Yeah, we are going to talk about that a lot, especially the single file thing. You see a lot of that, especially I think on those like big 500 splits. Those guys have 200 laps, and I think more than anything though, they're not used to racing around each other. You're randomly assigned, and there's about 1,000+ people who typically sign up for those races. So there's a very small chance they're going to be around any friends. So I think with the league today and a bunch of guys who I think this is our 6th or 7th race this season together, so they are very comfortable being close together for long periods of time. So what type of intensity are you expecting to see throughout this race, Mean Gene? Are you expecting single file or side-by-side racing?
Oh, I think these guys are just going to go wide open. You're coming out of Kansas last week, and there was a lot of disappointed drivers that thought that they should have finished up a little bit further. I'm not going to call out any names, but I think some rivalries might have actually been birthed at Kansas, or at least rekindled. And now we're at Daytona, where you can take a sneeze or a little wiggle, send your rival in the wall, and say, "Oh, my bad, I did not mean it." So I don't know, Zach. I think we'll see some green flag at the beginning, but as this thing goes on, tempers flare, fuel strategies change, and I think we might see some little bit of wreckfest.
Yeah, it can happen so quickly here. I think of all the plate tracks, even Atlanta included, Mean Gene, this track can be so hard to avoid wrecks. You're going so fast. There really isn't much room on the racetrack Going 3 wide feels incredibly sketchy. And when I say 3 wide, I'm not even saying someone being very aggressive during a run. It could be a car getting lapped, being at the wrong place at the wrong time when there's aggressive racing happening as they catch them. So many things can be the catalyst for a massive incident here at Daytona. So you really got to keep your head at a swivel and just be there at the end, right, Mean Gene? It's so hard just to give yourself a chance to win these races.
I mean, it's a crazy track. You could be a lap down, and then all of a sudden you're on the lead lap after a caution because you're the lucky dog. Run through the draft, you're in the top 10. So I wouldn't really count anybody out of this race, rookies included, because the super speedway with that draft, all bets are off. All the cards are on the table. There's no secret strategy, but I think friendships could come into this and team play. Big thing today, no David Owens. So Gulf Coast Racing, they're going to be a man down. They've had that rookie Jerry Rosa in their stable, but on a super speedway, we saw the guy choke at Auto Club. Don't know if he'll be a factor for those guys. So I think Fulcum's going to have a big advantage as far as the team race goes.
Yeah, I really do think we're going to see a lot of that, Mean Gene, and that's a great shout. And yeah, let's stop talking about the track and let's talk a little bit about the league now, because I agree, Mean Gene, and it's going to be a big factor today not having David Owens on track. He is over at Daytona. I actually see him up there in the stands, wishing he was on the track, but so far away, right?
He's eating. Just some Bojangles he's got.
He could have just walked down there. He didn't need to do that, but that's David Owens for us. But this right here on screen is our current in-season tournament. And oh man, Mean Gene, we are at the nitty-gritty. We are down to only 8 drivers, and these are going to be our matchups to look at today. We got David Medina Sr. versus Sam Milliken. That would not be a straightforward matchup at any racetrack, but it is wide open at Daytona. Like you said, a rookie can win today. It is anybody's game at a play track today where it really evens out the field. And in a season where David Medina has just been lights out, I think everyone welcomes that. Let's look at our next matchup here. We're going to have Matt Schofield versus Kevin Kyle. As you'd predict here, towards the middle of the tournament, very, very even. That's going to be a fun one to watch. Kevin Kyle, an exceptional plate track racer and very good at qualifying. So I expect to see him start up front, and we'll see how long he can maintain that track position. Our next matchup is David Brenner versus Jason Landry. That's going to be a close one. Landry coming over from the road course side, showing tons of speed on ovals, but this is a whole different beast, Mean Gene. It is kind of complicated to figure out these tracks, especially when you're new to oval racing.
David Brenner being the 2 seed, that guy's ready to strike.
Exactly. That guy has an abundance of oval experience. He is somebody that really knows his way around a track like Daytona. So I'll have my eye on him. And our last matchup is going to be between Jared Kelly and Joseph Volpis, 2 very good play track racers. That's going to be one that I can see coming down to the very end. Which matchup do you have your eye on, Mean Gene?
Oh, I got to tell you, that Jared Kelly, Joe Volpis is definitely shining in my eyes. Both those guys are ready to strike and take a victory. Both of them have a lot of friends on the track that's going to help them. I think we're going to see something exciting there. I don't want to count out Brenner and Landry, Brenner being the Gulf Coast guy, Landry being the Fulcum guy. So again, those 2 teams. So I don't, all of them. I want to talk about all of them, but we don't have enough time.
I know. I completely agree. And we're going to see a lot of those alliances today between teams, friends, and I'm talking also multiple teams matching up today who have already discussed working together. I can tell you from being in the DDI Discord, I've seen a little bit of that. But here we go with our qualifying results up on screen. And what did I say, Mean Gene and Dalton? I know qualifying here, and that's impressive. I don't know how he always gets it done, but Kevin Kyle, he is the pole man. He loves poles and sitting on them here at these plate tracks. Kevin Kyle on the pole again. Second place belonging to David Medina. Doesn't matter where we are, that guy has a speed by only 0.0003 seconds. That's a fingernail. Third place going to Justin Malarkey, coming off a very strong run last week, hoping to pick up where he left off, but get the finish he deserves. Dennis Puckett with an exceptional effort in 4th place, and rounding out our top 5, Michael Serra, the rookie.
Yeah, Dalton, these guys, they're out there putting these laps down without any draft, 50 seconds. What do you think? I mean, they're just going to pump that up. 47-second laps, maybe?
Oh, there's going to be a vast difference as far as the lap times go, Mean Gene. Yeah, with this draft, and that's the reason you're not going to want to lose the draft. You're not going to want to get stuck on the end of the pack, and you lift for even a second too with these next gens, and you're in danger of losing that draft. So that's something you're not going to want to open yourself up to, Mean Gene.
Look at that, 4/10 of a second. David Brenner, he's going to start in 6. Jared Kelly, 7. Rookie Ricky Mandela going to be 8. Nick Mills, the veteran, going to be 9. Jason Landry, 10. Joe Volpus going to be 11. Got his buddy Kyle right there with him, starting 12. Brandon Shelton, 13th. Zach Engel, not related to Kurt, that is 14th. Stephen Neal, that's your top 15.
Yes, and then starting in 16th, we got Matthew Smith, and then Joey Stiers in 17th. 18th, belonging to Chris Smorrell. 19th, Sam Milliken. 20th, Edward Peltz. 21st, Alex Hillman, back on the track. 22nd, Chris Smith. 23rd, David Buell. 24th, Jerry Rose. Then we got Michael Benton, Richard Leclerc, Stephen Kirby making another appearance here in the BRL. Great to see him. And then these cars from this point on did not put in a time. We had Rob there, Medina, and who were the last two there, Jared? Sorry about that.
Matt Schofield, Tommy Fox, and Jeff Pfeiffer. And I'll tell you what, if you look down there, some of those names, like I saw Joey Stiers in practice just close the gap and zip around cars like they weren't moving. Some of that is draft related, but a lot of that is the driver just knowing how to use that draft, get that run, and make that amazing move on the outside. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that 23 today.
Yeah, I absolutely will. And I like what Dalton talked about with how easy it is to lose the draft in these race cars, Mean Gene. That is the first thing I noticed when I got to the Daytona 500. I immediately lost the draft because I was too used to the trucks and what those things felt like. It is night and day different here. It is so easy to lose the draft. And with a field this size, really not that big, or I'm sorry, a huge field, Mean Gene, you could lose it in an instant. One little checkup in 20th place can cause every car behind there to lose the draft. So I'm going to have my eye on that, where it's going to be all kinds of intense, and it's really not even up to them. They have to, just to make sure they can stay in this pack.
Coming around turn 3 right here. Dalton, quick thought. How many cars can run in a pack and still keep it close? How many cars do you need?
You know what? I always hear that 6 cars is the magic number. And so I'm thinking that's what we're going to be looking for as far as, well, you know what? In the split that I ran the other night, the lead pack, there was a lead pack of 4 cars that broke away, and they kept their distance for a while. So we'll see how that materializes today.
So much of it is about organization and how well you work together. As we're getting ready to go green at the World Center of Racing, this is going to be a good one, guys. Green flag is out as we go, as Kevin Kyle leads them to the start-finish line here at Daytona. Great jump by Kyle, leading Malarkey in third place. Medina not getting off the line the way he needed to, already dropping back as that top lane falls back.
Yeah, that was a really funny start. It looked like that top lane was almost 2 cars back at the very get-go, and that is going to give Kevin Kyle that opportunity. He's got Malarkey pushing him, and behind him you can see the rookie Michael Serra still wearing the 3 number 601. Kyle coming around, though. Looks like he's probably going to lead this opening lap there.
Yes, Kevin Kyle, just a great jump, especially considering that we go off the flag and not the leader in the beginning. That is your opportunity, really, to lose the lead as the pole sitter. That was not what happened there with Kyle, as he's able to drive away there with Malarkey doing a great job pushing him. That inside lane looking far more formed up and already much higher in numbers.
You look at the teammates already starting to hook up, coming around, finishing lap 1, going into lap 2. You can see some side-by-side racing. Nick Mills making some moves down on that inside early. He's going to bring Joe Volpus with him. Inside lane looks like it's working a little bit better. Outside lane needs to get formed up. But with those buddies out there running together, I expect they're communicating on the radio.
Yeah, I am curious to see how long these guys who are still in this outside lane want to be up there, me and Gina. I'm going to assume a lot of them are going to start drifting into that inside lane, as you see Kelly do that right there, not wanting much to do with that outside line, and that line just gets smaller and smaller in the amount of cars it goes as we are about to cross the line for the iconic lap 3. a full sold out crowd, and you saw the threes up or the three fingers up from everyone there. It's been 25 years, but it still feels like yesterday that we lost the great Dale Earnhardt. And we'd still love to do that moment of silence for him, especially at this racetrack, to remember and honor the great Dale Earnhardt, who we lost at this racetrack in this race 25 years ago, me and Gene.
Yeah, I was holding up the three fingers here as well in the booth. Just what an effect. I never rooted for Dale Earnhardt as my driver, but the effects of losing him reverberated across the sport, improved the safety awareness and technology of the cars. And I'm not going to put a broadcaster jinx on it, but safety has been paramount for the drivers ever since. While we're in that race, though, you could see a slight breakaway already happening. You can see a lead group all the way back to Dennis Puckett there to 9th, and then you can see a little break as Nick Mills is going to lead a group afterward that leads all the way back to the 18th of Steyrs, and then yet another break being led by Sam Milliken after that. So already seeing three groups. I think that second group might catch that first one, though.
What's sticking out to me as well, me and Gene, is the second car on the outside lane is our outside pole sitter, David Medina, and that just goes to show how quickly that can happen. Dalton, someone that just was in this race for over 3 hours, how fast can that happen if you just choose the wrong line? Especially, did you see this in your split as well with the top just kind of falling back like this when you're doing the numbers?
Well, I'll tell you what's happening. I wasn't sure if it was going to happen on that large of a scale, but you know what? It's that side draft. That side draft is really powerful, and if you don't kind of pull apart from that bottom car, you run the risk of basically pulling the parachute for you and the guy next to you, and then both of you lose the draft, and now you got a kind of an angry guy. But it looks like they're closing it back up here. Looks like they figured it out. Yeah, looks like we just got that single file snake I was talking about now, Zach.
We really do have that single file snake. It's completely formed. You're going to hear me criticize this if we go on further, about 10 more laps like this, guys. But I love that shout by Dalton, and that is something that we should have brought up, and it is that side draft. And what he means by that physically is we might see it here from the 23 of Steyrs, and what he's going to do is he's going to get as close as he can to his inside car. So what you're seeing right now is an example of not side drafting, as he just decides to bail out and go a little bit further back in the field. But yeah, when cars are side by side, and sometimes you see them going through the corners especially, and getting closer than what would make sense to you, and they're thinking, why are they almost hitting that car to the inside of them? It's like Dalton said, it kind of opens up a parachute for the inside car, and that air just bounces off of them and really slows them down to the point where it can break the draft and create two packs like we're seeing here, me and Gene.
I'll tell you what, I've been watching these guys 8 laps. I have been looking at lap times and distances and gaps. And the thing that's standing out to me the most right now is that a new paint job on David Medina's car?
Yes, it is. And that's probably the biggest news of the weekend. It is a new, I mean, we have a couple new paint schemes here. We have David Medina looking great, and then our second place in points is running some new paint as well. Jared Kelly running the VRN paint scheme today. We'll talk more about VRN later in this race. But yeah, we got some good-looking new paint out here today. And it's Daytona. Is there a better time to show off some new paint than at this racetrack?
Ooh, look at Mills and Kyle Lynott right now trying to run that high side. Oh my God, I don't think Mills could put it in any deeper.
Yeah, I don't think you could either. Oh, God, I mean, Gene, make it so hard to keep a train of thought going sometimes. But there goes Lynott to the top. And the problem here that I'm seeing is, excuse me, I think you might see these guys able to make a few passes. And that's helpful there, that Landry is going to join this group and make it a group of 3. And I like what Dalton said earlier today as well about 6 being the magic number. I know 4 might be able to work in some circumstances, but right here with a snake that massive below you, I don't think 4 is going to cut it. Do you, Dalton?
Yeah, I tell you what, it's very hard to do it alone. Honestly, probably impossible to do it alone, especially with that long of a line there, Zach.
Yeah, it's a massive snake they have going on the inside, and they're working really well together. What you'll also see sometimes is when they want to form that inside snaking honestly work together, not so much race each other. Sometimes it's easier said than done, and they end up checking up each other, and even though the goal is to go as fast as possible, they end up just going slower. And look at that, Mean Gene. Kyle Lynot's group there with Nick Mills and Jason Landry, they are making good work of this group.
I think that's what Dalton was talking about. He said 4 might be the magic number. Right now, looking at 3, though, utilizing the side draft you guys made mention to, can slow up a car, and then those 3 guys hooked up, and they are tight. I mean, Mills is really smash drafting, and Lynot, he's just doing a great job of keeping that thing going straight. I'm really impressed with what Lynot's doing right now.
Lynot is an excellent plate racer, and what makes Lynot such a good, as you see the side draft by Lynot right there, that is aggressive. I'm not sure if he wants to. He says he's going to force a 3-wide situation by Lynot honestly being a little bit greedy on the side draft there, and look at this disorganization that's going to cause. Nobody wanted this. And
well,
there we go.
And just as soon as we compliment them, then they take it back.
They mess it all up, Mean Gene. Well, what I was going to say about Lynot,
except for the 56, right? He got away with it.
Jason Landry was like, well, you guys can figure that out. I'm just going to go here to the bottom, and we'll pretend like this whole thing never happened. And that's exactly what we saw there. And Lynot now just going to need a little bit more help, as he's already getting it as he becomes group of 3. But what's great about Lynot, Mean Gene, is he is an aggressive plate racer. Sometimes if you're getting pushed by him, you're thinking, dude, could you chill? But why you can't get angry when it's Kyle specifically is there is no push in the world too big for that guy. He can take anything. He can get pushed mid-corner, corner exit. He can handle it, and he won't get mad at you for pushing him as hard as you want to, because he has that much confidence at a play track.
I'll tell you what, I'm looking at the back of the field. Tommy Fox, way off the pace. I'm wondering if he forgot to grid up or something. He's so far behind everybody else, or did he just lose it at the beginning?
That all it takes, being GP on lap 13, that's enough time that if he lost it in the beginning, there was a small incident in front of him, someone missing their shift as we got started. That's what happened to me in the 500. Someone missed their shift in the beginning of the race. I lost the draft going into turn 1, lap 1. I was going a lap down around this time, lap 13. I think that's on pace for Tommy Fox. But as my dad used to say when I was younger and we went racing, he's so far back, he looks like he's leading. Lynot and Mills. That right there, 2 words, announcers jinx.
I mean, I said he was smash pushing it. Ooh. I said you couldn't go any deeper. He didn't listen.
Lynot can always find a way to go deeper.
I know. I heard Lynot clearly on the radio yelling Oklahoma, Oklahoma. I mean, that's that means stop, but wow.
So back, Mills, mad at the
word.
That would have been hilarious if that was the pit stall of Lynot, just like, I'm going to kill his crew.
Something happened.
As you see that 57 go past the pace car there, Mean Gene, that caution could not have come at a better time for Tommy Fox. Like I was saying, like my dad used to say, he's so far ahead, he looked like he was in first. He did, Mean Gene. He was about 3 seconds in front of the leaders, which means without the draft, he had about 1 lap left until he was put a lap down. So Tommy Fox gets to stay in the lead lap and race another day, as looks like definitely Nick Mills will be out of this one, and we'll have to see how much damage that did to Kyle Lynot.
All right, so that caution's going to come out on lap 14. What do you think at this point, Dalton? Tires or no?
I don't think, unless you're in the wreck, unless you really slid those things, you're not going to want tires. You're just going to want to take gas, especially. Well, maybe under caution you might just because, but definitely on those green flag pit stops, if we're going to see those today, you're not going to see guys taking tires.
Yeah, lots of takers here. I'm curious as well. One thing
I mean, you need gas, right? You need gas.
You might as well top off. And Dalton, did you realize this as well? And I thought this was curious. This won't apply here because these guys already have, probably about half, 3/4 full tanks. But if you run this thing dry, it only takes about an extra 0.8, 0.9 seconds to just throw 4 tires on it if you're feeling it all the way up. So at that point, is it worth it to you to grab tires?
Yeah, I think it's going to be to taste here, like I said, under yellow, definitely going to be just one of those things where if you want them, you'll take them, but I don't necessarily think you're going to need them.
I would agree with that. Green flag pit stops especially, and if your fuel tank is anything besides completely empty, you absolutely cannot entertain the idea of tires. There just isn't enough time, and you can't risk losing that draft. But wow, Mean Gene, didn't take long to lose a small handful of those. I'm thinking about our in-season tourney. I don't think that's going to have any repercussions, right? That does not.
I'm hearing word from Joe Volpus on the radio right now. His tires are 100, 100, 100, and then 99 at this stage after that. So I think you're onto something there about the no tires.
There's no worse feeling than when you do swap out the tires and then you check what they were at, and iRacing doesn't have scuffs, so you can't throw those back on, and you're like, great, just burned a set of tires for literally no reason.
I mean, 100. Like, I just watched them run 14 laps hard. I know they used them.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising to still beat 100. Looks like the surface of the track isn't particularly cool either, but we'll keep our eye on that, Mean Gene. Light's still on the pace car. As we're
Joe's a smooth driver. I've watched his in-car. When he's turning, I mean, he's barely turning that wheel, and then once he gets into that slot, you can see him hold it on that line without any wiggling. He's not killing any bugs left and right. And then when he comes out, it looks like he just kind of lets that car ride where it wants to, but it still stays under that middle line. So,
also Joe Volpus in third place, as you see, first car on the inside line behind Kevin Kyle. So what I'm also assuming happened there is that he got in there early, made it simple for himself, and that's also a great way you can protect your tires. Dalton, to you, is there a way to, we harp on this at pretty much every other track we go to, not named Talladega, but is there a way to protect your tires driving around here, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think the way to do it is just not get caught in wrecks, not be having to use the brakes, not having to slam on the brakes or go for a slide. That's really kind of all you need. Just driving around here doesn't really wear the tires out that much.
Yeah, the banking definitely helps out a lot, and you're right. But one big checkup, and that's also why you'll see a lot of people here set their brake bias extremely high, to where it does take the car a long time to fully come to a stop, but also lowers the chances of you locking those things up and flat spying the tires, which is where the tires or the wheels are not moving anymore, which creates a flat patch on the tire, which makes them miserable to drive. But here we go, entering turn 3. Pace car's lights are off, which means we'll be going green this time around. And what I'll be looking at, Dalton and Mean Jane, is I'll have my eye on that top lane. I want to see how many people want to stay dedicated to that, or how many people are going to immediately look for the first opening they can find on the bottom, bail on those guys, and go to what looks like the favorable lane. Or do they want to race now? Is it time to start racing? We are on lap 16 of 95, so we still got a long way to go. But track position is harder to come by than you may think here. It's far more easy to lose than it is the game, as Kevin Kyle will lead Malarkey to the green flag here in the Geico restart zone. Kyle with a fantastic jump there, out like a rocket ship. 2-3 car lengths already. He is gone, and he's going to have line selection as they enter turn 1.
Yeah, there's a couple of rookies up there, or not rookies, but guys that's qualified a little bit further back that now find themselves up into that front. Matthew Smith, one of the guys, Christopher Smurrell, keeping an eye on those two guys, see if they're up there because of pit strategy or driving skill. Kevin Kyle, though, putting on the driving skill, and now Joe Volpe is going to give him that challenge on the bottom line.
Yeah, Kevin Kyle, interesting to me, chooses the top. Like I said, he was going to have line selection going into 1, and with that, he chose the top line. And he is taking it with him. Him and Larkey clearing Volpus on the inside there, and the 96 try to push Volpus and get even. Matthew Smith right there behind Volpus, seeing what they can do to get to Kevin Kyle, but Kyle clearly choosing the right line there as they have a good 4-car lead on the inside lane.
Yeah, I'm surprised the outside lane works so quickly. After 2 laps, you're up to speed, and I see that outside lap working. The outside lane working, the inside lane usually the more preferable line, but here we go. We're going to see guys making that early job of taking that outside. Magically, it's the outside, and no sooner than I say that, then we see Sarah cut down onto the inside, and look how quickly he falls out of pace with those inside guys.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting right now, but I'm seeing the inside a little bit more favored than the outside generally. However, it doesn't have the same amount of speed as the outside, still gapping the inside a little bit. And what I'm also looking at Dalton, especially, you just dealt with this. I think the reason that we may have seen Kevin Kyle be so preferable towards that outside is that's Jason Malarkey who got him to the front. While Kyle started our pole, him and Malarkey worked so well together on that inside line on that first run to just gap the whole field and drive away. And Malarkey never really showing any urgency to pass Kyle. So maybe Kyle thinking, I want Justin behind me. I trust him. How important is having that friend that you trust in this race?
You know, I'll tell you what. I think people fall under the misconception sometimes with these plate races that because it's all kind of stacked up like this, you have the restrictor plates that you know, it's all kind of luck. But this is a skill, and it's a different kind of skill, and you know, like anything, you can develop it. And you know, if you have that rapport with another driver, if you have a guy that can take a push combined with a guy that can give a good push and you know doesn't give bad pushes, I think yeah, you're going to be set up for success around here.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's so important to have that group that you work with, and I also love that shout about that this is a skill. A lot of people like to say, oh, I don't like this when I count it. It's all luck. It doesn't matter because to be at the right time. Well, if you guys want a fun fact that I learned yesterday that blew my mind, this is a real NASCAR fact, guys. This is the Xfinity Series. Austin Hill has won 11 stages in a row at plate tracks. How insane is that?
Look, I'm not.
I got nothing. That's wild.
Well, look. Here's the thing. I'm not gonna say that Austin Hill doesn't have a lot of skill around here, but it is also that man, that RCR super speedway program. They really do a lot, and you know that's not something you're gonna see on iRacing with these fixed setups. Everybody running, you know, basically the same car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was watching that race yesterday, and I literally said that to my fiance as we're watching it. I was like, you are not going to see this tomorrow. And what we're talking about is those RCR cars, their ability to take the lead and not have to rely on a push or the draft behind them to maintain that lead and maintain the speed. They could just drive away, and it was hard for anyone to pass them. If you look at the 31 of Kyle, he is very reliant on those pushes from the 73, and that's really comes down to that trusting and squaring up and having someone that you can rely on and that you know is going to hit you square every time. You need that in these next-gen cars because you are really at the mercy of the car behind you, are you not, Mean Gene?
Oh, yeah. In fact, talking about being the mercy of the car behind you, you can already see 26 cars in that lead group. Then there's a small group of 3 behind them, quickly falling behind. 3.5 seconds, that gap's getting bigger too. So those last 3 guys, just kind of hoping to triage this as we move forward. But we're looking up front, 26 guys still in that lead group.
Yeah, but it's getting sketchy. As you see in the VRN, gorgeous paint scheme, Jared Kelly leading that inside lane. Jared Kelly not satisfied with all these second places. I know the feeling, my friend, as here he goes looking for yet another lead and looking for a win here this season in the VRL. Kelly that has that inside lane formed up beautifully, and look at all that momentum as he goes the inside now of Kyle with Brenner pushing him. These two work really well together, Mean Gene. So we got 2 groups of drivers who like working together, leading these lines.
Yeah, but you can see the Malarkey, Kevin, Kyle chemistry still working. Kyle now, he's going to cut down low, make that inside lane work for him, leaves Malarkey, but he's not alone. Malarkey's got Brandon Shelton, David Medina Sr. pushing him, and the 56 of Landry on the outside. Back up, and there we go. There's a play for the lead. Jared Kelly going to ride that outside with Malarkey pushing him, and he pushes himself up to the front.
Jared Kelly leads that time around, and what I'm seeing, Dalton and Mean Gene, more than anything, is the patience is out the window. These guys are ready to go. I don't know Kevin Kyle was over the top line there, if he wanted to see if the bottom, or if he thought the bottom, with it being able to catch him there, was enough to make that decision, but did not pan out there as Jared Kelly, that was all he needed to see, and he took the top. What would you have done there? Is just hindsight 2020. It's like, oh my goodness, Kelly closes the door very, very late. That block was, about a millisecond, not too late. That was a close one there, Dalton. But man, what did you think about that decision from Kevin Kyle to change lanes there?
You know what? I'm with it. I think he wants to maintain control of this race. He's So you can see he hasn't necessarily lost it. Now he's just kind of in that pusher position. As long as Jared Kelly can keep that lead. But yeah, that's the thing. He really wanted, I think, to maintain control of this race with that move.
Yeah, I think so as well. And now look at Malarkey saying, okay, well, thank you, Kevin Kyle. I appreciate you giving me this top lane because I know how to control it, and I'll take the lead as he goes right around Kelly. So now when I'm looking at me and Gene from the 73 Malarkey, does he want the bottom now, or is he satisfied leading the top?
I think Malarkey's the kind of guy that has great awareness around him, but he's also a real loyal guy. I think that he's probably going to ride that lane with his buddies. Too early in the race to start making wild moves. Also, I think they got a long way to go before it's time for fuel. I think Malarkey would be happy to just start collecting him some laps and start laying down some of those lead laps. A little bit further back, we saw Smith, who started so good, hit the wall a little bit and start to fade a little bit back in that pack. I think you're right about the end of it starting to trail off. I see a few guys that are definitely getting out of the lead group now.
Yeah, we're starting to see those little mini packs form behind this main 2x2 pack. Presenting solace for those guys is that typically side-by-side's a little bit slower than if they can get formed up, as you see right there on the top of your screen. A few groups of about 4 or 5 cars who have lost the main pack there, and it can happen so quick. As Malarkey now going out to a nice little lead, getting pushed by the two of Shelton. Those two working really well together. And look behind them, we got 2 of our top guys. The cream always seems to rise to the top. Our top 3 in points right there. Put a blanket over them of Medina, Landry, and Kelly.
But these little groups are really wiggling. I think 4 is that magic number as we see them trying to make it back up. Ooh, a little bit of pushing there. Some smashing, huh?
Malarkey side drafting a car that just simply isn't there. I don't know why he decided to go towards the middle of the track there. That was a sketchy moment, and you saw, excuse me, how quick there that can make that lane disorganized. And look at that, guys. Just like that, Jared Kelly has a run to the inside. You really got to be disciplined up and down these straightaways. There's no reason to fall out of line there and kill the draft. And like Dalton said, get that parachute of air on the car that really slows them down. These next gens just simply don't have enough horsepower to handle that wind differential when they follow the draft like that.
Okay, so it looks like 19 cars still in this lead lap, making good play for contention. Brandon Shelton up 11 spots into second, and David Buell up 14 spots. Richard Leclerc up 13. Those are the fast movers up in that lead group.
I also like Zach Engel over in that 47 car with a Ricky Stenhouse paint scheme. If there's ever a time to run a Ricky Stenhouse paint scheme, it's at Daytona, is it not, Dalton?
Well, you know what? I won't give my opinion on Ricky Spinhouse, but yeah, I'll tell you what. I mean, you know what? I can't knock him though. He's a Daytona 500 winner. So he can, you know, he stuck all those nicknames to him a couple years ago.
Yeah, and he punched Kyle Busch in the face, so he learned he got some fans there. I like both of them, so it was like watching your parents fight. Like, be nice to each other. It was not good for me. But Ricky Stenhouse, definitely someone who's very aggressive, and I think he has, 4 or 5 Cup wins, all of them at these type of tracks. He knows how to get around these places, so I like that move by Zach Engel, trying to get some of that Ricky Stenhouse DNA in that 47 car. As we're seeing a little bit of organization now between our top and our bottom, not as much urgency to make moves, but still everyone wanting their line to be the dominant one, wanting to control this the best they can. So with that top off, guys, of fuel, I'm thinking lap 45, 50 for green flag pit stops if we make it that far.
That sounds about right, but you're right. I think that a lot of those guys are running about 80%. In the back, that group of 3 that fell off is now about to catch a group of 5 and a group of 2 ahead of them as well. So we could have an 11-man group forming at the back of this pack real soon. That's going to be some speed.
And what you normally see happen with that is incidents, if we're being honest, because the closing rates can be so different. If this group right here that we have on screen is able to catch our lead group, the reason why they did is because, well, obviously they're going a lot faster, right? Mm-hmm. And that sometimes is hard to figure out, especially when they're using 2 lines like this lead group is. Some people might be greedy and might think, I'm not just going to let you blow by us because I don't even know if we're going to catch you. I have to block here, and that creates incidents. How many times have you seen that be the catalyst for a massive incident at these type of tracks, Dalton?
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely can't. You can't let ego get in the way of a
contact.
Oh, uh-oh.
251 right into the back of Puckett. Puckett into the wall off pace.
Oh, Puckett, who had such a good qualifying effort. That's such a shame. And look at this here on screen. We are catching a lap car. As we see Puckett there. He's going to immediately bring it down into the pits. Get that thing bottled down. Don't Nick right it. As Puckett gets it dialed back. Sorry, Nick. I know you watch these.
There's the 69 Flesh. It looks like he's going to lap one.
Yep, he's getting just definitely they're inserting him one lap down. Probably going to keep that for later. As Malarkey, we're getting more simple here. Maybe a little bit spooked there as they saw what happened with Puckett. But yeah, Dalton, if those two groups get formed up, how often does that create a incident? But with that incident we saw with Puckett, that may, it looks like on screen, yeah, separate them even more, doesn't it?
Well, I'll tell you what. For me, I'm a jackal. I'm a vulture. So I'm usually not the kind of guy that's looking to move to the front in these races. I prefer to sit, maybe 5 or 6 rows back in that lead pack, so I still have that draft. And it's like, me and Gene, you're a wrestling guy. I would assume. If you watch the Royal Rumble, there's a wrestler, I forget who, that said that his strategy, if the Royal Rumble were if it were real, if wrestling were real, if he entered the Royal Rumble, what he'd do is he'd lay down and hug the bottom rope and just wait for everybody else to throw each other over. And that's kind of my strategy when it comes to these races, is just sit on the bottom, and if they wreck, just bail out, try to survive until it's actually time to race, until those money laps towards the end.
Oh, I love it. I love it. If it was real, it is real. These bruises are real, you jabroni.
It's real to me, Tanner.
Meanwhile, it looks like the lead group still being led by Malarkey, single file, looking good and strong up there. Brandon Shelton, he's accustomed to chasing people on the open highway like this. Second place. Medina making his way up third. Jared Kelly, Jason Landry, that's your top 5. Single file racing here at Daytona, lap 35 of 90.
Yeah, we have the big sneaky snake going right now. I think that was Don Mysterio who said that, by the way. He was an awesome guy. I would do the same thing whenever I wrestling 2K before iRacing took over my life. That was my Royal Rumble strategy, was just play dead in the corner. And that's what I like to do in these races too, is just play dead until the end. I might not be like Dalton and Kevin Kyle and have a Daytona 500 championship to my name, but do have a few Super Speedway League wins, and that's how I've accomplished it. It's with playing dead until the end with good strategy, good fuel savings, and having a calculator on your team like Dalton. So that was very helpful. Look at that gorgeous shot there from our producer. Look at that, the World Center of Racing, Daytona Motor Speedway, as we're starting to see 2 lines form here. I'm glad that we only had to do that snake for about 2-3 laps. These guys were like, screw it, let's race. I love it. You're on TV, guys. Let's put on a show.
All right, so this just in. Dennis Puckett has parked it in the trailer. So 3 cars, Nick Mills, Kyle Lynott, Dennis Puckett, all victims here at Daytona. That's going to leave 29 cars running. Currently, we have 28 on the lead lap.
Yeah, it is so easy to get terminal damage on these next gens at these tracks specifically. You're going so fast, so the hits, oftentimes, they don't feel in the cars. That is, you think, and then you get in the pits, and this just happened to me in the 500. I got in the pits, and I did not have this happen. This is a new iRacing feature. My spotter's like, it's just broken. We're not even going to try. Like, you're done. Pack it up. We're going home. Hadn't had that happen before. They didn't even give me a time. So, yeah, it can happen before you know it at a track like this, and so far, so good, as we're getting close to our halfway point here, me and Gene. And to only have, I think it's about 4 or 5 cars out the race at this point, not bad at all. And these guys are not racing. They're putting it all out there, and they're keeping it clean so far, so great sign.
And what do we had? One legit caution and then one guy go in the wall?
Exactly.
All right, so they're making their way. Michael Benton about to get put lap down by the last 3 cars on the lead lap. And looks like the leader of that, Jeff Pfeiffer, leading that little group of 3. I think he's burping it. Maybe he's trying to save some fuel, knows something I don't know.
Yeah, that could be it. I mean,
He won't close that gap.
If you're not leading the line, well, he kind of is leading that one, but if you feel like there's no incentive to, this is the time to save fuel. We're on board with him right now. I'm looking at that yellow bar right above his wheel, and you just saw it go up there, and you're seeing it fluctuate a tiny bit there, ladies and gentlemen. There it is right there. Keep your eye on it closely. And what that tells you is exactly what Mean Gene hypothesized is correct. He is burping that throttle. He's not going full throttle unless he has to. Right there even, we were going a straight line, and he is not full throttle. How important is that, Dalton, and how much gas can you save by doing that?
Well, here's the thing, and I'm, as someone who is relatively new to the VRL rule set, I'm not sure if they're running the full capacity of the fuel tank, but if they are, you can make it about 40 laps on this tank, and hey, guess what? We went back green with about 80 to go, so this can be a one-stopper to the end. These guys can come in, if they run this thing dry, they can probably come in 55, 56, and make it to the end. But here's the thing: it's not going to be everybody. If you're leading, if you're out, leading a pack, you're not going to be able to save as much. You might end up a couple laps short on the end of this thing.
Yeah, you could. I think it's about a lap or 2 laps even difference over the course of a run, and it could really stack up if you're the one leading that group, because you don't get those opportunities to let off the throttle a little bit. You are full throttle the whole time. And during that, we did see some new characters pull even with Landry there. We have Engel and Hillman working together there on the top, and they pulled even to the front of that field, and immediately that run just passed away. It just went away and got to the point there where you saw Engel lose interest in the top, leave Hillman out to dry now. Now Hillman leading the outside lane. And if I were to guess, Mean Gene, I think we're going to see Alex Hillman probably want to get to the bottom here as well. There he goes. I'm thinking this is a combination of guys preparing to pit and also losing faith in that top and people willing to work with them.
Yeah, unless you're in active communication, you can't trust anybody to hold the line for very long, because we've seen the ramifications of being in the wrong place. You could lose 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 positions, even more. And if you fall to the back of a group, you could easily lose that draft and go out. So I think when you see an opening, you just have to jump on that thing as quickly as you can.
Yeah, we're definitely starting to see different pockets of the draft all throughout this field. It's different groups of 5 to 6, really everywhere you look now, from the lead all the way back to about 25th, different pockets of cars. And like we've talked about all day, the draft in these next gens just so unbelievably easy to lose. And before you know it, this separation will start to be created. What this could complicate, Dalton, and we're going to be talking a lot about this if we do get those green flag pit stops, is these guys are communicating when they can, especially the teams, as wow, big run there by the 5 up to Hillman, and as he checks up, not creating a bigger incident. But these guys need to communicate. They need to bunch up. If you don't pit together and you exit the pits 1-2 seconds apart, that could be the end of your race there if we stay green.
Yeah, this is the time around, I'd say, around 10 laps till they're going to be coming in, where you're going to want to start communicating that. You're going to want to start trying to figure out, okay, what lap are we all coming in? And if you're not one of those guys that's miking up, you're just going to want to be paying attention. Okay, is that somebody in my pack that's telling me what lap to come in? And you're going to want to follow some guys.
Yeah, you're going to want to have those comms open. Yeah, so you don't have friends, you're at least hearing, okay, they're coming in on 45. That means I'm coming in 45. Screw it. That's 5 people that I've been around, I can trust, I know how to work with them. And man, Mean Gene, look at this pack right here, though. These guys are getting intense. You saw him and kind of get stuck out to dry on the outside again there, losing even more positions.
Yeah, you could see Buell cut down right there in that 52. It's time to pit. I can hear on the radio, a lot of guys are choosing to pit right now. It's going to be a green flag pit stop. I think it could get a little more and more drivers saying they're going to pit right now. I can't wait to see this one.
Yeah, this is where the accidents can happen. It is so much harder than it looks. Here we go. This whole group coming in together, like we talked about. This is so important. Look at this mayhem, guys. This is crazy. So many cars. Amazing job. Overall, tons of brake smoke. And what that did, Dalton talked about this earlier, you don't change the tires unless you have to. That could be enough. Smoking the tires that much on entry. Would that be enough, Dalton, for you to want to put some freshies on it, even if you weren't planning on it up until that moment right there?
No, I don't think so. I think you're gonna lose the draft if you take tires here. There's so many guys that are just gonna be taking fuel here, and you do not want to come out of the pits here and lose that draft. And also watch on this re-entry when they come around the bend here. You can get loose here.
Oh yeah.
It's very easy to do so, and you can end up in the grass. Let's see if anybody does that here.
Look at Jared Kelly working the wheel here, just like Dalton said, unbelievably loose. No one's left or rear sides I saw get jacked up there. So what that tells me, guys, is no tires were taken there. Just like Dalton said, it's not worth losing the draft. You have to maintain that track position. But my goodness, Jared Kelly, Mean Gene, he was just flat tracking it, getting back on the racetrack there with Landry now pushing him as this group reforms. That's exactly what you want to see.
Wow, that group just reformed so quickly also coming out of there. Not what you want to see if you're not in that group of 5. Look at David Brenner on the outside looking in. I don't think Brenner's going to have quite the speed to catch up with those fellas.
That's literally that scene that you saw in so many movies growing up, right? Where you're holding on to someone over the edge of a cliff and you let go and they're just falling into the abyss saying no. That's David Brenner right now.
Yeah, but he's got a Jose Medina coming up on him from behind. Maybe he'll catch up, close that up. Medina, good run again today, up 21 spots into 8. Oh, and he's going to get 8 up by a crowd, though.
Yeah, Medina, you could tell, was trying to work with his old teammate in Daily Drivers Inc. of Stephen Kirby. They were exiting around the same time, Eugene, which tells me that they probably came in together, but something went wrong in the stall. Whether it be someone taking tires when the other didn't, someone missing their stall. It could be the littlest thing. But that was enough for those two teammates to get separated from one another and put them both in a bad situation. Kirby now going to really hope he can hold on to the back of this field. I don't think he's going to be able to, Mean Gene. Same thing is happening to Jose Medina. A couple cars behind him as Engel in the 45 of Steve Neal just blow by Medina. Even with 2 cars drafting together, it's so hard to maintain that draft.
Go up to Brenner. He's about to get 8 up by a group. You can see that big group catches him.
And Brenner's going to do the right thing here and go at the bottom and not try to block this group for no reason, right? And create an incident. But watch here, Brenner's going to, as quick as he can, get behind that 23 of Steyrs. Try to hold that trap, but watch that. Look at that.
He falls in the well again.
Oh, how hopeless of a feeling is that, Dalton?
Yeah, and it happens so quick, too. You see, if you're not, and I doubt he lifted at all there. I think he was on the throttle that whole way and just praying that something caught there on the back of that pack. But yeah, it just happens so quick in these next gens that sometimes you're just helpless.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin actually talked about this in next gens, and I could not agree with the guy more. This type of racing is inherently very, very dangerous, especially in real life. We saw Ryan Preece 2 years ago now get launched literally into space as Brenner. Ooh. Wow, go back to Brenner real quick. Oh my goodness, that was
he cut down in front of Neal. That was dangerous.
In front of Kirby there, trying to break the draft because Medina and Kirby were able to reform there and create a little bit of draft. And Brenner said, "I've had enough. I want friends. Please, guys, work with me." And he cut them off and tried to block them.
That's not how you make friends.
It's not. It's not. But like when you've gone so long, not saying this is Dave Brenner in real life, but when you've gone so long without having friends, you just forget how to talk to humans. That's pretty much what happened to Brenner right there. He was like, "How do you do this again?" So yeah, Brenner just not really doing the right move. But hey, it worked out. He's
got a tow cable in him.
Exactly. Selfishness is what you have to do sometimes. Brenner, I think that was his last chance too. I don't think there's any more cars behind them. So he had to do that. But yeah, back to Hamlin's point real quick. These cars and this type of racing is dangerous because it's so close together. But it's not the speeds necessarily that create the danger in most people's opinion. Obviously, they don't help, but the speeds aren't going anywhere, right? We're going to be going this fast for a long time with or without a plate. The key is that we need more horsepower. these spoilers in the back of these next gens are just parachutes. They're too big, and the next gen doesn't have the horsepower to run by itself, and that's why you see it lose the draft so quickly. They can't power up the way you saw Austin Hill do yesterday in an Xfinity car, where by himself he can go from pack to pack if those lines in front of him weren't working great together. So it is a absolutely unforgivable and brutal car to drive on these plate tracks, and because of that, the racing is so close, because you always have that in the back of your mind. Will this make me lose the draft?
Ooh, and speaking of losing the draft, you can see that lead pack led by David Medina, Justin Malarkey starting to come up on some solo guys trying to stay on the lead lap, but not going to happen. Looks like first on their radar going to be Tommy Fox.
Yeah, so they're going to start picking these guys off one by one, and what we're going to have to be keeping our eye on is, are any of them going to pull a David Brenner, not want to go a lap down and say, I'm going to try to pull up in front of this field, and we'll just see what happens. It'll be their problem now. I saw a lot of that in the 500 and the iRacing 500, and it's sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But if you're a Tommy Fox or someone like that right now, what you're focused on more than anything is what's the next car here that's going to get lapped. If that next car that's going to get lapped after you is 30 seconds up the road, then you can think, okay, I'll get the lucky dog, I'll get my lap back. It's not worth creating an incident right now and making a bunch of points.
Well, unfortunately for him, that next car down the road is just barely ahead of the leaders. That's the 251, and looks like he too is about to get eaten alive.
Yep, whenever you need a car to get lapped, that 251 is always somewhere close to help you out, is he not, Jerry?
I think so. But with no friends out there, he is solo and ready to go down. Looks like Pfeiffer and Peltz, the next cars, they're teamed up, so they got a little bit of a gap. So this is unfortunate for Fox to watch another car go a lap down.
Definitely not good for Fox. And look at this as well, as we see the group of Kevin Kyle forming up right now with the group of Medina. So forming a little super group, and what I'll have my eye on here, Dalton, how long is that group of Kevin Kyle, probably with that newfound confidence that he has, that he with those guys behind him who helped him catch this group. Yep, I was going to ask you, how long do they want to stay single file? There's your answer.
Yeah, no, okay, we saw him duck out of line there for a second and then kind of backed out of it. But, you know, something I want to go back to with the lap car conversation that you guys were having, and something that people might not necessarily focus on is the fact that with this iRacing system, when you bump draft, a little 0x contact notification pops up that says, you know, hey, you made contact with a car, but you know it's not you didn't do any damage, you didn't really do anything. But that 0x contact, if it happens at the wrong time, if it happens when the caution comes out, that's gonna take away the lucky dog if you're a lap down. And so oftentimes what you'll see is, or what you'll hear in those races, if you hear someone saying, please don't push, no push, don't push me, that's usually somebody who's a lap down hoping to get the lucky dog, and they don't want to get taken out of it by something as trivial as a little bump draft at the exact wrong time as the yellow comes out.
Such a good shout, and that's so true. That's how my 500 ended a couple days ago. I was the lucky dog with about 12 laps to go. Caution comes out in front of me. The guy behind me is on the lead lap, and I know what's going to happen, right? I know he's going to bump me. And I don't want that 0x because that's going to end my race. I'm not going to get the lucky dog. So I do what I always say not to do, Mean Gene, in these races. I blast through the caution, right? I'm like, I can't get bumped by this guy, so I just try to drive straight through the wreck. And what happens? What always happens? I get killed. So you're so right. That 0x is enough to take away, with this stupid iRacing system, is enough to take away that lucky dog, and that can be your race right there. And oh my goodness, I'm not sure if you saw that. There was some aggressive, like you'd like to call them, Mean Gene, smash pushes between the 73 and the 9 there.
Yeah, you know, you're trying to get this thing moving. As long as it's not on a corner, you can get away with it.
You can. The intensity has definitely picked up in this group right here. Yeah, it goes all the way back to Hillman. Everyone right now wanting their top of their bottom line to be the dominant one, wanting to get these positions while they can. I think also starting to feel that group behind them, I think it's about 6 or 7 cars, is single file formed up quite nicely. They might be here before you know it. So get these positions before it's too late.
Yeah, 5 cars, so that goes over that little magic number of 4, and they are managing to close that gap. So right now we see 11 cars in that first group, and then that little group of 4 afterwards trying to close the gap. We'll have to keep an eye on and see if they can do that. You know, David Brenner is happy to be part of that group of 4 after falling down the well twice.
Yep, and you see Medina as well working both lines right now, working the top and the bottom. Wherever the run's coming from is where Medina wants to be. That is a bold strategy to enact at these plate races on iRacing. You see it a lot in real life, right? With those race cars trying to control both lines, but it's easier said than done and much more difficult in iRacing where the air just doesn't seem to react the same way. You oftentimes will see that be the catalyst of an incident, but right now, Medina doing a masterful job working both lines and maintain that lead. And Malarkey, he has just been, I'm going to give him so far, as we're over halfway through this race, he's been the pusher of the day. If you want to go to the front, get in front of that 73 car and he'll get you there.
Hey, Tommy Fox making friends. Looks like Sam Milliken is going to go ahead and go around him, and then the rookie Sarah falls in behind. So they're going to pick Tommy up. They got a Tommy Fox sandwich.
Hey, that's always a good feeling when you're trying to get to that lead pack and you find some lappers and you're thinking, hey, these guys need us.
They circled him. They circled him. Milliken got in the front. Sarah was in the back, and now they're like, we got you, pal.
You're with us now, kid.
Yeah, Tommy Fox, that car's got no damage. He just kind of fell out of the draft, so this will be a good chance for him to just kind of keep up with that lead group, continue his momentum on the day. So we'll have to see if these guys. Milliken's had a pretty good race. He just fell out for a minute, currently running in 17th place. So be interesting to see if Milliken can get back up with that group, what he can do with it.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see if these groups can form back up into one big super group. Or, I mean, this is a big thing too here, Dalton, right? If you're the 73 in Malarkey, the 9, I'm going to say really anyone in this lead pack, all the way back to the 52 of Buell, who is the tail end of this lead pack, isn't there that in the back of your mind, like, guys, let's not screw this up. We have this big gap to the rest of the field. Any of us, about 10 of us, can win this race. Let's not mess this up. Let's not do what Alex Hillman's doing right now and shoot the middle and kill us all. With Hillman, I have to give him credit there, a gorgeous move.
Yeah, you know, and here's the thing: is it's what I said earlier. This is about it being a skill, about this being a skill game. And look who's out front leading. It's the three-time BRL champion, right? I did my homework. Winningest driver in BRL history, leading the pack. Isn't that funny how that works, Mean Gene?
Every time, right? The more you race, the luckier you get.
The cream always rises to the top. And look at that guy. Folk 'em all, says David Medina. It really is any racetrack. We were talking before this thing started about how Medina's been dominating, and our producer said, well, we're going to Daytona, so we won't today. Well, what do you know?
And meanwhile, group's getting bigger in the back. Looks like that group with Milliken has picked up another car. Got the 251 ahead of that. So that becomes a 4-man group. Sam Milliken, though, still going to be 17 seconds behind that group with Brenner at the end. So those guys just looking to stay on the lead lap for now. But a 4-car group, that's that magic number. Ought to keep Milliken and Sarah from falling back any further.
Yeah, I think a 4-car group is enough to at least be running about 46-second laps. Our lead group right now running in the high 46s. So that's enough to not go a lap down quickly, right? Like we saw at Tommy Fox when he was running all by a Seldom. That only took him 13 laps. The time differential at that point is about 3 seconds. So you just do a quick 46 divided by 3. Comes out to a number somewhere around there. But when that's only a 1 second difference, that's very easy math for me that even I can do. So your risk of going a lap down is far, far less. And not just that, me and Gene, you're not in this intense lead group. So if you do get that caution, you're on the lead lap. You get to form back up with the main group. And it's probably a smaller group because these guys are going for it.
Yeah, and, you know, Tommy finally getting in that group, he caught the 251, which is the other car lap down. So now, right when Tommy thinks he can focus on getting back on the lead lap, there's going to be some new lap cars because it looks like our leaders are about to chase down that 2-car group of Jeff Pfeiffer and Edward Peltz.
It happened so quick here. I was dealing with that where I was, you're on the lucky dog position. You're like, okay, I just got to survive here. And then all of a sudden you're looking at your relative like, oh no, they're going to catch a field of 4. And just like that, it's over for you. So it happens so quick here, and you're just really praying for that caution, but obviously not wanting to be the one who causes it. So it's going to be interesting for these guys. These laps are ticking off, guys. We only have about 30 to go now. And here we go. Don't look now, but the 23 of Joey Styres. I've talked so much about this guy. I run in other leagues with him, and he is lights out fast, and he hasn't had the opportunity to really show it here on BRL Sunday Premier Cup Series yet. But here we go. Third place, outside lane, Joey Styres.
Yeah, Joey ran so fast in practice, and I was expecting to see him up here. Another guy, though, I'm telling you, David Buell, the 52, is also in that group. David is up 18 spots. Joey's up 14 spots. So these guys really got something to work with here now that they've caught up and all. Here comes the lead group up on those two cars getting lapped. I want to see how this develops.
So all they want to do here is maintain their line, be predictable. It's Edward Peltz in the 35 of, or 30. It says 35.
What if you're on the bottom? You're the 55 on the bottom.
Here's where it gets complicated. And look at Kelly not quite knowing what to do here. I think he might actually want to pick up
Sheldon around with Hillman. Contacts. Joe Volpis around.
Into Smorl. Smorl's around. Volpis keeping it clean so far, but big damage there for Shelton, and I believe that was the 5 of Smorl was. And we are still... Okay, yellow out. This, yeah. You're going to have to get used to that one, Dalton. I don't know what it is. But the flagman here in BRL takes naps, and it takes a while to wake him up and be like, dude.
Well, he's a fan. He's watching and cheering and high-fiving with his friends, and then he remembers, oh, I have a job to do.
Yeah, there's a flag in your hand, buddy. Big wreck there, and that could not have come at a better time for a lot of our lead lap cars. It's gonna be interesting for like the 7 of Feltz. I'm not sure if he maintained. I think he may have gone a lap down there, but I think he might be our lucky dog, so good for him.
Yeah, Pfeiffer and Peltz. I'm not sure which one was in the lead, but it's going to be one of those two.
Yeah, I believe so as well. All right, second caution of the day. So what better time than now than to tell everyone about what we'll be doing after this race is over. And we're going to real Daytona. We're going to stay right here, me and Gene and Dalton. And we're going to go up to one of the skyboxes, and we're going to watch the Cup Series of the NASCAR division, the real life, as some people would say. And we're going to have some fun. We're going to play some drinking games for those of us who don't have to work after this. And you can meet the VRN team. And VRN is Vortex Racing Network. You guys will learn more about them in the coming weeks and month, and the involvement that VRN is going to have with BRL. But I'll tease you guys right now and tell you it's nothing but exciting stuff that's going to elevate all these leagues. So you're going to see all the same familiar faces that you're used to in these broadcasts, but just more leagues, more technology, more resources, and more advancements. And we'll be telling you guys a little bit about that during the stream today. But more than anything, we're just going to be watching the Daytona 500 and having a good time. So this is going to happen on the Vortex Racing Network YouTube channel. It's a new YouTube channel, so you'll see it. It's probably only about 1 or 2 subscribers right now. We just launched it.
And you can link it right now. Look, you can just link right through that thing.
And we got that QR code that you can scan right there on the bottom right. That will take you to the channel. So go ahead right now if you're watching, sub up to that. Get ready, because about 15-20 minutes after this BRL broadcast ends, we'll be going live over there. We'll be with me, Kevin Kyle, Buddy Sully, one of our head of techs will be there. Dalton will be there. I know me and Gene will be popping out throughout the day. We're going to have a lot of comers and goers through that stream, some good surprises. We're excited, and we're also giving away some prizes. We'll play some games with you guys. We'll give away some stuff from VRN, Vortex Diecast, who is VRN's sister company, and Daily Drivers Inc., one of our sponsors over here, will also be giving away some stuff. So come join us, watch the Daytona 500 with us, obviously totally free. Get to know the VRN guys, get subscribed up there, because we'll be doing post-race shows for this league and other leagues over there in the near future. So you're going to want to be subbed up there regardless. But yeah, super excited, guys, to hang out after this race and watch a lot of racing and praying that the weather stays good at Daytona today.
Hey, if I use a P.O. box and a fake voice, can I win prizes?
Yeah, absolutely. Or just
I don't know what you're talking about, lad. No, it's not me. Go ahead and mail me the prizes, yeah.
Sounds good, Seamus.
I love that guy.
I love him too. Banger after banger.
All right, so it looks like it was Pfeiffer that was going to get his lap back, but Peltz also being shown. Maybe one of them stayed out.
Yeah, that could have been what happened there. Could have had a lead lap car stay out, which I don't know why you would, but they did. That means no wave around, which is mean, but we'll have to see about that.
Yeah, it looks like Tommy Fox might have stayed out as well.
I'm assuming that's the wave around me and Gene. So those guys were a lap down. So if a lead lap car, if all the lead lap cars did pit, which my assumption is they did, you're going to see them drive around. Oh, they're coming in now. No,
Well, there
some of them
goes that
aren't.
strategy.
Yep, there it goes. Let's see if anyone drives around the pace car here, like Tommy Fox. I believe he will. Yeah, so Fox will get his lap back that way. Downside to that, guys, is if Tommy Fox has 8 laps of fuel left, hypothetically, right now, you don't get to come in on this pit stop here. We are 1 to green, so he has to floor it, drive back around, get to the rear of the field, and he has to hope for another quick caution so he can pit and get some fuel
He'd
in
look
that
like
thing.
a genius, though, wouldn't he? He'd be a genius.
And yeah, and you got to do that. You absolutely have to take that risk. Get the lap back any way you can and just hope for the best. Because if he does have to come down and put some fuel in it, you're going to go a lap down doing that anyway, so you might as well give yourself a chance, right?
Yeah, so it looks like Pfeiffer, Schofield. Vulpes is coming out of the pit as well. Joe Vulpes still on the lead lap, but after getting spun, taking a little bit of damage, Joe Vulpes going to be back in 20th, 21st, trying to repair some of that damage.
I didn't see Volpus make any contact with any walls there, so I think it was just other cars. So hopefully nothing too bad for Joe. I will say
he did take tires too, so I think that has to.
Might as well.
The spinning, right? When you spin, isn't that what you said, Dalton?
Right. Like Dalton talked about
Exactly.
earlier. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, Dalton.
Yeah, if you're already back there, you know, sometimes it's just one of those things where it's like, well, you know what, I might as well. I'm not gonna, you know, everybody else is gonna be taking fuel. I'm not gonna be able to really recoup any of these spots on pit road anyway. Might as well. And also, I want to say you were, yeah, exactly correct on that wave around. It's really just guys choosing between, you know, the trade-off of, you know, hoping for that caution before they have to come in for fuel, because now I think everybody can make it to the end, and yeah, it'll be tight, but yeah, it's really just hoping for that caution.
Yeah, absolutely. You absolutely are going to need that one right here as the pace car about to pull off. It's going to be Medina leading the field of green with Malarkey. Familiar sight on that top
Look at the
lane.
checkups on the inside lane there. Holy Christ.
A lot of cars catching up, I'm assuming, to the rear of the field right at the nick of time, Eugene, and that often is what you see are those checkups. Green flag in the air, Medina straight to the bottom. I'm sorry, Malarkey straight to the bottom, get behind Medina to form up that inside lane. I like that move from the 73 Malarkey, trying to protect his track position, and look at that gap, guys. A solid 4 car lengths in front of Kelly and the 23 Steyrs.
Yeah, a lot of checking up on that inside lane right there. It was already super long because of all of the different pit strategies. That's going to get Medina up into the front now. Medina being chased by Malarkey. Malarkey been up there all day. Behind them, you can see Steyrs, Kelly side by side, Zach Engel, Jason Landry, and Stephen Neal and Alex Hillman throwing their name into the hat.
Yeah, they are. A lot of different faces we're seeing out front, and this is the time to get those positions when you're guaranteed to even, or as even as that we've seen them all day, lines to the top and bottom. You only have so much time, as you see right there, more cars bailing out to the bottom. You only have so much time, and you're on that top lane right now to get your spots before that line becomes weaker than what you have below you. Especially now with only about 35, 37 to go. These guys really want to protect their track position, make sure they're there at the end, and have a chance to win this race.
24 cars on the lead lap. A couple of them, though, like Tommy Fox, choosing not to pit, taking a wave around. So they're only good for a few more laps of fuel. But right now, 23 for sure in this thing to win it.
Yes, there are. And these guys all want it. And it's super intense right now. As you see, Engel leading the outside lane with Hillman behind him, pushing him as hard as he can, trying to make any progress they can towards Malarkey and Medina. I'm going to keep my eye on those 2 cars specifically and see how long they want to do this before they bail out to the bottom. Those holes just are not forming up on the bottom there, are they, Dalton?
You know, it doesn't look like it. You know, I just want to talk real quick about that tournament we got going on with these guys all stacked up again. I think if we do see a wreck here, it could be the great equalizer, because, you know, we've had David Medina, we've had Kevin Kyle kind of out there leading laps, and they're facing, you know, some 20th seed guys, but, you know, Daytona, great equalizer. If a wreck happens, you know, this is the place where an upset's going to be likely, where it could happen.
Yeah, we talked about that last week, me and Gene. If there's going to be some bracket breakers, it's going to happen right here, right now. And I think you're spot on there, Dalton. It's going to happen in this run. Look at that. Medina and Malarkey losing the run entirely, and Angle just blasts by him and takes the lead of this race.
Yeah, lots of these guys got to be thinking about fuel right now. They want to make it to the end. Specifically, I'm looking a little bit further in the back. Kevin Kyle leaving a gap constantly between him and the car ahead of him. It was Matthew Smith able to take advantage. We've seen other guys swerve up in front. So I don't know if Kevin Kyle is leaving the gap because of fuel or if he's concerned about an incident. But these guys leaving those gaps, you can see Leclerc also doing that. I think that's going to leave some massive gaps that could be filled and cause those cautions you're talking about.
Definitely, and let's talk about a rookie of Michael Serra over there in the 601 in second place. Man, I'm not sure if it was exactly who brought him over to this league, or if we already had friends here, or if we just found the BRL by chance. But if he didn't have friends already, this is how you make them. Michael Serra in his second race here at the BRL, working with that's not Zach Angle, that's Stephen Neal, brilliantly to get to the lead there, working super, super well. And now with Stephen Neal and Michael Serra leading this pack and getting past the dominant David Medina and Malarkey, really no one's had any of those two cars. But wow, I am impressed by Michael Serra, and I mean, I'm always impressed by Stephen Neal, but look at these two. They have blasted to the lead, and they now are maintaining that gap they have over the lead pack.
And look at that outside lane. You can see the 47 of Recce Crashhouse. I'm sorry. The 47 of Zach Angle getting pushed by Sam Milliken and Matthew Smith as well. So they're trying to make that outside lane work. We saw that three-car strategy work earlier for guys cutting through the pace with Nick Mills and with Pop, Kyle Lynott. But then little aggressive driving cost him at the end. These two guys, so they fall into line quickly after getting a good 5 spots out of that move.
And we talked about this as this particular one went green. How long do you have on that outside line until it dies off and you need to find your way to the bottom? Well, Dalton, look at this. That outside lane is already falling back dramatically. But, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think Neal and Serra use the outside to get where they are right now. So there is that incentive. Do you see anyone else wanting to go for it as we laps take off? Or do you think we're going to go a little bit single file until about 10 to go?
I think that outside lane is probably gonna. I think it's just gonna stay until these guys break apart, and it looks like they are kind of breaking apart right now. And you see the two duck down to that bottom lane to get out of there. So I think it happens. You know, you're gonna see them kind of drop off one by one, and then all at once, and guys are gonna start looking. Okay, where can I fit in? But yeah, new faces out front. We're in for a good finish.
And look at that outside lane now. You got Jerry Rose behind Kevin Kyle. Got more and more takers. We'll see if we get any meeting, but just as I say that, Kevin Kyle bails out straight to the bottom. Look at that 3 wide action right there. Jerry Rose trying to find a lane. These guys got to make up their mind here. This is getting messy, and it's getting messy back in the field. And if you are not careful here, we've said this all day today, this is how you lose the draft.
Yeah, these guys already trying to make those mistakes. You can see a little bit of 3 wide back there as well. These guys taking chances. And there's some lap cars mixed in there as well, which always makes it a little bit more interesting. That yellow car, he's a lap down as well, so that could frustrate some drivers as they're trying to make their way through the field and stay on the lead lap and keep up with that draft.
It's frustrating, but this track, more than probably any other track, oh my goodness, look at that 3 wide action, ping-ponging back there. It's getting sketchy. Everett Peltz right there needs to file in. They need to get a little more organized there if they want to have any hope of not losing this pack. But you're seeing these are some of the lapped cars we are talking about racing each other, but they got to do it, right? They want to be in that lucky dog position. So this track, more than really any, the lappers have an incentive to race each other. And because of that, they have to race in the main lead car pack. They can't risk losing track position and losing their chance to be in the lead lap as we're running out of laps, only 20 to go.
Well, action is picking up right now. So impressed with what I'm seeing out of Stephen Neal and Michael Serra running up front. Guys we don't get to talk about enough. Magically now throwing their names up at the top of the BRL Race League. Zach Angle up in the front, Sam Milliken. These guys finally having a chance to shine here on the open speeds of Daytona.
love that about Daytona. That's why a lot of guys circle this track on their calendar when they see the schedule drop for a league like this, knowing this will be one of their best chances to win this season, because it is completely, the pay window's open for everybody. From the right now with 20 to go, 20th place, it's just good the chances first.
And other drivers really frustrated. You can see Joe Volpus back there still milking a damaged car back in 16th place. Cannot be happy with what's going on.
The problem with a car like Volpus right now, and Dalton, we know this all too well. We talked when Volpus had that initial incident in that last caution that all you really need is the draft to maintain your track position to have a chance of winning this. But what we didn't talk about with Volpus there, and what is so rough about that, is oftentimes that also means that car is no longer capable of creating runs by itself, right? It's not as fast as it was earlier in the day, so you really are relying on the cars in front of you to make any forward momentum. If they're not interested, like they're not right now, and everyone just ran that bottom, you're kind of at the mercy of them.
Yeah,
I think that's what we're seeing a lot, right?
It's a frustrating feeling when you realize that front end damage. If you end up with that damage, you're realizing that it's a little more than you thought it was, and it gets really frustrating when you're full throttle and it feels like you're standing still, and you don't get those runs that you were getting. You know, early in the race, it kind of felt like you were getting those big runs. You could just dive to the outside, pass a couple cars maybe, but when you get that damage, it just stalls you out.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing that from the 07, just completely stuck back there, not having the power in that race car anymore. And look up front, you have Michael Serra really giving some big pushes to Neil, trying to maintain this lead. I think they're starting to feel that pressure, Mean Gene, and the 9, the 7-3 behind him, wondering one of these guys is going to poke to the outside.
Yeah, this is really exciting at the moment. I keep waiting for somebody to pop their head out, but you know the penalty. If you go by yourself, you will walk alone. You might have that extra set of footprints on the beach next to you, but if you don't have a pair of tire tracks in the sand, you're in trouble.
Yeah, it's so true. If that 9 of Medina pokes out to the outside and then Malarkey says, "Thanks, buddy, I'm not going," and stays on the inside, Medina could fall all the way back to the end of this single car field, and that is past lapped cars. That's all the way back to 23rd in the lead lap, but yeah, you probably have 30 cars in front of you. That could be a race ender right there. So it's tough, and it looks, I mean, it's frustrating to watch sometimes because you're just thinking, come on, guys, let's go. But it is a tough situation in that race car, waiting for your moment and not wanting to do it too soon.
And fuel, right? I mean, we're
That's
still
true.
trying to push 40-plus laps off this green flag run.
We are, as you see them go to the outside of Smorl there, as he pulls to the apron. Smorl, I think, dealing with a very damaged race car. Honestly surprised that thing is even quick enough to be out here, so good for him. Putting those laps, waiting for some carnage, hopefully to make his position that way. As we're currently on board with Jared Kelly, pushing Alex Hillman around the track. And like we talked about earlier, too, it looks so easy from the outside, but look how intense this actually is. Even in these single-file lanes, the lines are constantly changing in front of you. You've got to make sure you're giving square pushes, and the checkups, they come out of nowhere.
Oh, I see a little bit. Oh, contact. This 117 gets into the 251.
Little bit, yeah, and the 117 up into the wall, grazing the wall there. Looks like we should stay green, but the 117 absolutely walloping the wall. Jerry Rose as well with a good amount of damage, bringing it back to, and we are under yellow. Yellow flag is out. Rose and the 117 of Leclerc getting together there towards the back of the field, probably trying to catch the lead pack, and that's going to be enough to bring out a caution. Our third of the day with only 15 to go.
I mean, Leclerc's up there running in 16th, 17th place, so in his head, he's thinking, this fella's slowing me down. Everybody's starting to get frustrated at that point. I think if he saw a tiny sliver of light down at the bottom, he's going to try to shoot that gap.
That's oftentimes what you see, especially at this point in the race. Pay window's open, it's time to go. Patience wears thin, and that's what I'm going to be expecting to see as we restart this race, probably with about 12 to go. I think this is time for fireworks. If you're in 10th place right now, Dalton, is it go time for you?
Well, I'll tell you what. If I'm in my driver's seat in my mind palace, in my ghost car in this race right now, I'm probably ideally running around 10th or something, just kind of holding on to it, and I'm not happy with that caution. I don't think.
No.
I'm like, man, where was that? I wanted that to take out some of the guys in front of me, and so I'm kind of thinking like, man, that took out just like 2 cars all the way back there. Yeah.
So true. You
What
hear
about
me say that
Stephen
all the
Neal?
time.
He's got to be happy. That guy was leading all those laps. He wasn't saving gas. But now this caution comes out. He's going to get it back. Gerald Rose ain't happy. That guy was in place for the lucky dog. Gets in that wreck. Edward Peltz now is the recipient. So some happy faces and some sad faces. But one thing's for sure. If they come in now, fuel not a factor. If they stay out, it could still be touch and go. What about it? Do you take the risk, or do you just make sure your basis is covered?
Well, we just saw a mixed bag there.
9 laps, right?
Probably lights still on. Probably 11 maybe. But we saw a handful of cars stay out there, which means no wave around for these guys. Looks like we got Engel staying out. I saw Hillman staying out. Quite a few of these race cars. I believe is that Milliken right there staying out as
That's
well?
Peltz getting his lap back. Yeah, I'm looking up front. That's Engel, Milliken, Hillman, the 55 of Kelly.
Yep. So a mixed bag here. A lot of cars.
Rob
Milliken-
Chowdhury making his way up. Check him out. And Joe Volpe said damage must not be that bad. He's staying out in 7th.
Well, what we what we also talked about earlier is when you're deep in that field, especially when they get single file like that. We rode on board earlier and we saw some of it. You can go very partial throttle. So these guys who were in the midst of that single file field throughout that run definitely saved a lot more gas than a Stephen Neal did.
Yeah, looks like Tommy's got that thing rolling again.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Well, let's see. David Brenner. I'm looking at some of the guys that were running up at the front. Now we see him in the back. Look at Kevin Kyle down 15 spots, running back in 16th. That's got to be tough.
Neal all the way back to 10th. He was the first car to pit, so he guaranteed to lose at least 9 positions there by taking fuel. And I honestly maybe would have even taken tires there. Damage is done. You might as well. But that is going to be interesting. I'm super curious about the guys like Engel, Milliken, Hillman, really all the way back to 9th. What's their fuel situation like? Can they make it? They really don't want an overtime now. They don't want to add laps to this race.
Look, Rose and Leclerc are the only 2 in the pits. There's a lot of smiling going on. Oh, snap, and they come out at the same time. That's going to be fun to watch.
That's fun. That's always fun. That's just always what you want.
Rivals are born.
That's what Daytona is
good
for.
stuff. I thought that's what Kansas was for. All right, up front, the 47 in the lead at Daytona. We've seen this, right?
Yeah, we've seen that paint scheme in the lead recently around this time of the race. So, what do you know? Maybe I was on to something.
I got him in my fantasy lineup. I'm just saying.
I mean, that's a good call. That's just a good call. My prediction today, I think 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. I think Kyle Busch is going to get it done today.
Does he still race?
Believe it or not.
He drives.
He drives. There's a race car that he drives, and it's on the racetrack to the best
I
of
think
all
if he was in different gear, we might be having a different conversation.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Speaking of, I also have my eye on that 19 at Briscoe today. I think people aren't ready for what he's going to do in that 19.
I know. Now he's like, wow, the cars go this fast? I didn't know.
Right? He's like, I didn't know that they did this. And they turn when you ask them to. This is crazy, Tony. Why didn't you give me any of that?
It's okay that I go 100% and use all the fuel? You're okay with me using fuel?
We have extra sets of tires?
Oh,
So
gosh.
It is going to be
I'm
11
a smoke
to go.
fan, too. I'm a smoke fan.
I love Tony Stewart.
I
love
do.
him, too. But that team went to crap the second that he stopped caring about it for me.
But, it'd be good to see. Briscoe deserves a new ride. So I can't wait to see what he does with that.
He was the right call as well. I agree. He is so talented. I don't think he's younger, but I don't think he's as young as people he's not as young as people think he is, right?
Mhm.
He's in the prime of his career right now. So I think that was a great call as well. But we got a race to finish here before we get to that one.
Ooh, 6
Outside
laps.
lane.
Whee!
Yep, 11 laps here. We got Malarkey, or I'm sorry, not Malarkey. I'm too used to saying that. Milliken on the outside.
Oh,
as the
95. My
47.
bad. I thought it was
Yep.
90.
That is 95 today. We're going long. This is a long one. And great jump again. That inside lane has been fantastic today. Zach Engel leads them to the green and gets a good jump. Good enough to where Hillman also able to follow him through. I think Hillman will probably be able to grab second place. Not a ton of help for that 17 of Milliken on the top as the 24 trying to catch up.
No, top line outside. Milliken by himself. Finally, he sees Rob Chaudhary catch up and Stephen Kirby. Got David Medina on that outside lane as well. But 5 cars on the bottom lane. 6 now as Chaudhary jumps in ahead. That's going to leave Milliken on the outside alone.
We're already seeing 3 wide action behind them. These guys, it's go time. No one wants to wait now. Medina catches up to Milliken. That outside lane starting to get formed up. But once again, like we've seen in so many of these restarts, so much progress lost. Already the top 5, all the way back to Volpus, all in the inside lane, still gapping the outside lane, and when it's side by side there behind them. So here we go. This really went perfect for that 47 of Angle. Only has 10 more to go until he can call himself the Daytona winner.
All right now we're still looking at 23 cars on the lead lap. Edward Peltz a little bit off of the speed, so I wouldn't count him in at 22, still having a chance to lead and win this thing. Zach Engel, though, in the 47, wants to make his name heard. Oh, the 23 comes out of line. He's right back in. That was nerve-wracking.
You saw with the 9, the 45, the 73, and the 601, they have one of the early supporting effects I've seen all day, Mean Gene. That was a close one, and it got so bad and so loose and all over the place that even the inside lane was affected. That accordion happened on the outside, but the inside, seeing the energy there. And
Contact between Hillman and Medina.
Oh, no.
Oh, Hillman was not, and it finds him on the outside. Volpus not happy with that 401 of Hillman right there. You can see it giving him unfavorable pushes. He did not like that block by Hillman. It was a momentum killer, and it was late.
Oh, Kelly's heart's pounding after that. Oh, Volpus gets hit by Milliken. Contact. There's a big one.
Oh, here's the big one at Daytona. Medina's in it. The 601. Malarkey's in it. The 14 or the 17 of Milliken is in it. Rose works his way around. Morrill gets through it. Huge wreck there. Tons of fast cars affected. Kevin Kyle is in this one, ladies and gentlemen. That was a big one.
A lot of tournament drivers there.
Yeah, a lot of tournament drivers. Good shout. Great shout. Wow. We're going to have to see how this one cycles through as we get to the start-finish line.
Justin Malarkey on the radio. Did I do something to you? Why did you do that? What did I do to you?
Oh,
he's got a finger. He's pointing at somebody.
Feelings are hurt, Mean Gene.
What did I do to you? I didn't know she was your sister. Oh, my Lord.
Oh, God. You kind of saw it coming, did you not, Dalton?
Yeah, something I was looking at there was, I was laser focused on Milliken and Medina. I was wondering when Medina was going to make that move because they're matched up in the tournament. So I was wondering when Medina was going to lead him out to dry. Not going to be part of the conversation anymore, obviously. As once again, the wreck, the great equalizer, and this whole thing shaken up once again.
Great equalizer is the perfect name for what we just saw, especially when it comes to that in-season tourney. And yeah, you did have to think about that if you're one of those cars that was, trying to make moves to get that win, right, Mean Gene? But at the same time, you're thinking, oh gosh, the guy I'm pushing is my in-season tournament rival. What do I do here?
Yeah, I push him into the wall and keep on going.
And that's what we saw.
Unfortunate right there. Looks like Tommy Fox would have been the lucky dog, but because he had contact out of that, looks like the 251 is going to be the lucky dog and make his way around. 24 cars will be on the lead lap.
See, life is a full circle. Life is that you just saw that happen to Rose, not getting his lucky dog for that very reason, and now he's going to get it. And yeah, a 0x, like Dalton said earlier, that's enough to cost you your lucky dog and make it another time around before you can get that lap back. We have 7 to go right now. Light's still on. So my guess is we go green with 5 to go. And oh boy, Zach Engel. I'm guessing if you're that 47, you do not want to see another caution, do you?
I think he's just wide open. Damn the torpedoes at this point. Nobody gonna pit now, right?
Oh no. Does he look nervous in there? Okay, look at his eyes. Does he look nervous?
He's that Anakin Skywalker meme. You know, this is he's saying this is where the fun begins.
And there's Jared Kelly with that smug look on his face, chilling, thinking I'm gonna wreck that 47.
Well, he's got to be happy. He's up 5 spots, running in second. He's got his rival, Jason Landry, right there. Rob Chowdhury, finally getting to talk about that guy, up 20. The number 24 is up 24 spots. Stephen Kirby behind them, and Alex Hillman. So now we're getting to see some veterans up there with Kelly and Landry next to all of these other newer guys having the run of their lives here.
Yeah, look at Stephen Kirby out of nowhere. This is his second race over here in the BRL. Stephen Kirby's someone I've spent countless laps on the track with. That dude is really, really quick, so keep your eye on him. He's done a great job working his way through the field, and I can tell you right now, right behind him is Alex Hillman in 6th place. Those guys are friends. They're likely in a Discord group together right now, so I would not be surprised to see them work together. I'm also looking for Jose Medina. Where did he go? Because he's going to be with them as well.
He took a EOL, voluntary EOL because of damage.
Okay, so that makes sense. But yeah, I got my eye on Kirby and Hillman, Mean Gene. Those two, keep your eye on them. As lights off the pace car this time around, it looks like Zach Engel going to take the inside. That is a smart move right there. Jared Kelly will be on his outside this time in that beautiful VRN paint scheme. Looking good, and he's been up front all day today as well, Mean Gene. Jared Kelly up front all season, really, and much of the same here, having another chance at a win, hoping for not another second place.
Ooh, Kevin Kyle still in the pits getting that damage repaired. That's got to be painful. Joe Volpes trying to make his way around after his second spinneroonie.
Yeah, Kyle trying to focus, it looks like right now, on staying on the lead lap, but it may have been enough to put him one down. I'm trying to find him on the
He's
track.
holding on. He's holding on.
Looks like Kelly, or yeah, looks like Kyle will be on the lead lap, so good for him.
He's that cat. He's that cat poster. Hang in there.
Yep, and that is certainly what he's doing. Making sure he's going to still come out of here with a decent points day, because Kelly, I'm sorry, not Kelly, Kyle definitely up in our points and been a contender all year. But wow, Mean Gene, this one is going to be crazy. Only 5 laps to decide the winner at Daytona.
They got enough gas, right?
They better. As long as we run the scheduled amount of laps. We got 3 overtime finishes if necessary here, and that is 6 green flag laps. I'm going to go on a limb and say that these guys don't have enough to do that. But
hey, look at that 55 VRN car on the outside.
55 VRN car. It looks so good. One more reminder, guys. Vortex Racing Network, so youtube.com/ @Vortex Racing Network. Come join us for the Daytona 500 stream about 15-20 minutes after this. We'll be going live. We're going to be having a lot of fun, me and Gene.
And don't forget, Animal House as well. You can check out our sponsor, Animal House. They can handle all of your decorative and group needs.
Yes, check out Animal House Customs, and it's about to be an Animal House here at Daytona. Geico restart zone in view, and there goes another great restart from Zach Engel. And we haven't talked about this yet today, boys, but that may have been too far out. That run coming back to Engel is going to be enormous.
Yeah, that's not the way that Engel wanted that to go. You can see Landry, Kelly hooked up on the outside, rivals all the time, allies today. The 24 of Chowdhury trying to give them a push. Directly behind them, Alex Hillman, inside lane looking squirrely. 47 eaten alive by both lanes, 3 wide, as he's going to go from first all the way back to 10th, hoping to get help from Schofield. Number 3, Mandela in there, Medina as well. Malarkey getting a little wiggly with it as he's got a push from Leclerc.
Stephen Kirby to the lead with a push by the 2 of Shelton. Great job by them. And yeah, my crystal ball is definitely still fully operational, Mean Gene. That was too big of a push or a run from the 47 of Zach Engel, and he had nothing to do, or he couldn't do anything there. If he had thrown a block there, he would have gotten turned. Engel all the way down to about 10th place now. Going to try to regroup here. That's Stephen Kirby and the 2 of Shelton just driving away from this field. Only 4 laps to go. Can the rookie of Kirby hang on? Only a second race here in the BRL.
Lots of checking up in the middle of this field. I am a little bit nervous. Oh, and there sideways. Sheldon in the grass. Matt Smith. Peltz hits him. Looks like Mandela part of it. We're going to stay green.
Staying green so far. Landry to the lead. Oh, that was a heartbreaker for Stephen Kirby. Just a bad push, a bad block, a little bit too late. I can't believe we're still green, but we are 3 wide behind them. Kirby's alive somehow. I don't know how that's possible, but here we go. Jared Kelly looking to the outside of Landry. These two have been rivals all season. You know if there's one guy that Kelly doesn't want to lose to, it's that 56 of Landry. Jared Kelly to the lead in the BRN car.
And there's David Brenner. He's throwing his name in there as well. Kelly, Brenner, Landry, top 3, all connected with a gap behind them.
These 3 have an absolute breakaway. If they could just keep it green to the checker flag, there's no way anyone besides these 3 are winning. These guys have it figured out right now. That could not have worked out better for all these black and red cars. I think you just wanted a black and red car. At that instant, you're going to have a chance to win here. It's going to be 2 to go after they get out of 4 here. Jared Kelly leading this group. I think that 22 and that 56 are going to be content to sit where they are until they see the white flag.
Shouters, Steyer, Angle trying to close the gap behind them. David Medina stuck in the middle. Stephen Neal, Malarkey still part of it, but they got to close the gap on these top 3, and now it's a 6-car group.
Steyers joins the party and immediately makes a move on Landry and goes to the outside. Angle was falling. He wasn't able to follow Steyers through, but now Angle will form up that inside lane. We got 2 groups of 3 on the inside and the outside. We got the 24, the newcomer of Chadbury right there. And then catching up to them, what do you know? Dave Medina is about to make it a group of 7. Things just got a lot more complicated. All they have to do, guys, is get it back to the white flag, and the next flag will end it. And this thing will be real simple. They can figure out amongst themselves. Don't look now, though. The 45 and the 73 join the party. Group of 9 as they're about to take the white flag.
Oh, my Lord, it's getting so close now. All 9 cars, make it 10, have closed into the gap. The 23 on the outside. Big move by the 56 as he's going to go down to take the lead. Chowder, he gets a bump from Medina. But right now it's Joey Steyers on the outside coming out of 2.
Steyers leading the outside lane with Landry to his inside. These guys are going to absolutely go for it here. We're seeing them get all types of loose later in this field, so the runs are not going to be as strong as they need. Kelly needs to clear the 23 of Steyers here so he can take the outside lane. That's all he needs, and he can have a shot at Landry. Kelly going to continue to push Landry. Kind of surprising there. Kelly, where is he going to make his move? Big hit there for the 24. This group just got even smaller. It's down to 7. Around 3 and 4. When will Kelly make his move on Landry? It's going to probably be the outside. He's waiting for Brenner to get closer to him. There goes Kelly. It's going to be a photo finish for the win. And I think Jared Kelly is going to get it done. The VRN car, Jared Kelly wins at Daytona.
Oh, what a finish. Kelly waiting, taking his time, waiting until he had the momentum, uses that outside lane, and look at that. How about the 45 of Stephen Neal making his way through, following that line, and he's going to take 3rd.
Awesome job by Neal to get the finish he deserved. We saw him lead lots of laps today, but the 55 has been denied time and time and time again this season. He has came in 2nd place more than anybody else. He's had more speed than nearly anybody else. And where does he get it done of all places? Daytona. This man would not be denied today. That was an amazing final sequence. 5 laps of green flag, respectful, amazing driving. That was a pleasure to watch. What'd you think about that, Dalton?
That was insane. That's what you can expect at Daytona when it comes down the end, when these boys can have at it, when you don't have the officiating body throwing cautions on the white flag, letting them race to the line.
I agree, and you don't have them disqualifying people after where it's Parker won. But anyway, I think we might as well get this out of the way now, me and Gene. I don't know how this happened so quick, but Jared Kelly is in the booth with us right now. Can you believe this? Jared, we got you here?
Yeah, you got me.
Oh my gosh. Congratulations, my friend. That was a finish, and you heard me talking about it. I thought you'd make the move earlier, but what do I know? I'm not a Daytona winner like you are in BRL. What were you thinking on that white flag?
Yeah, we almost screwed it up there when Joey got up to us, but we held strong, and we were working with Jason all race long, along with Stephen Kirby and Rob Chowdhury, Jose Medina, all those guys, Alex Hillman. We were all working together today, bringing it home, getting that victory at Daytona. Jason and I were watching that bracket. We wanted to win the bracket. When it came down and it was just me and him, I made that move to the outside, and we got a really good run to the start-finish line. We're able to pull it off here.
And it's also really cute seeing you guys do your own version of the Ricky Bobby and what was his name? I'm forgetting the other guy's name.
Cal.
No, not Cal. The kiss at the start-finish line at the end of the movie. That's what we're seeing right now. Him and Landry are just
Ricky Booby.
Ricky Bobby from Formula. Ugh. But yeah, that was a really cute kiss between you and Landry there on the start finish line for these Daytona fans to enjoy. But oh man, that was fun, Kelly. That was a good one. And yeah, I knew that Hillman and all them, like I was talking about before the broadcast, had an alliance. I genuinely did forget it was with you. So talk to me a little bit about how valuable an alliance like that is when it extends beyond just the number of your team, right?
Yeah, especially here at Daytona, you want guys that can get up front and kind of keep it clean, and you don't have to worry about them wrecking out at the end. So we definitely wanted to get some guys, because it's just usually me and Jason on a weekly basis. So we wanted to get more guys in to help us out. We ran all good together. We were working along with Stephen Kirby, kind of pushing him up front too, and him going up top to block that run from Joe helped us out a lot. Helped us a lot with him wrecking out. So, but other than that, it's very important here at Daytona. I'm gonna go party with the RVs.
Yes, sir. Go find Cletus, and how about now? That was awesome.
How about that?
How about now? Take those sleeves off and have a good time. Maybe you need to turn those lights on. It's dark over there. But yeah, that numbers advantage really was huge there, and you saw it play to your advantage. And also having a friend like Landry who you can trust. And I think that also, correct me if I'm wrong, may have played in a little bit into why you waited as long as you did, because you can trust Landry so much, right? You know he's not going to turn you coming to the start-finish line, and you can just pretty much be like, we're both friends. Let's get to the front stretch, and one of us will win, and that's good enough for me, right?
Yeah, well, you hear it all the time that the move's got to be made out of turn 4, and it's true. You get that. You have to wait till you're on like the little flat part of the front straightaway out of turn 4. You don't want to make it too soon going up the banking. You're just going to slow yourself down with no help. So we're trying to generate that run and at least get side by side, maybe to side draft them a little bit, and work to our advantage today.
Well, congratulations, Jared. You're a hell of a producer. You're a hell of a paint scheme designer. Looking at that beauty of a paint scheme right there. Thank you for repping VRN today and getting to victory lane on its first try. How about that? And then you are a hell of a race car driver. So honestly, Jared, it'd be nice if you could leave some talent for the rest of us. But congratulations on the win today. And anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just all the partners on the race car. Nothing fancy. Aeromotive, Ford Performance, VRN, Performance Bodies and Parts. A lot of guys are going to need body parts today, so go over to them and go get yourself some new body panels. But other than that, Jason Landry, all the guys from DDI helping us out today, working pretty well together. We might see each other again at Talladega, and we might have to return the favor to a couple of them.
Yeah, happy it went well. Those guys are awesome, and I can tell you from the Discord, it looks like that we won that race. They're so happy for you. So, hell yeah, man. Super proud of you. And great effort today. Let's pull up that in-season tourney real quick before we get out of here.
Hey,
we got an interview. We got an interview.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I see a guy walking around like cock of the walk down there, super excited. If it's okay, I'd like to pull in the third place finisher, Stephen Neal.
Yeah, get his sleeves off.
Yeah,
and let's
he's peacocking down there. Stephen, you got me, bud.
Yeah, you hear me?
I hear you just fine. How about them apples, my friend? Pushing it at the end up into that podium. Take me through that last lap. That was a big group you were not a part of. Close the gap. Take me through that.
Yeah, first time in the booth, so it took me a while to find where I am. You'll have a nice bathroom facility here. The bathroom attendant is very helpful, maybe a little too helpful. But anyways, yeah, last lap, just try to keep it clean and keep it going forward. Stay away from everything to get me in trouble. I was hoping that Jared and Jason would kind of tangle there towards the end. But yeah, I pushed Brenner, knowing that I might have a little bit of room on the outside to maybe get a podium on there. So just kind of did the best I could and try to stay clean the whole race and first top 5 in the Premier Cup for me.
No, not just a top 5, my friend. Podium, up on that podium. I was really impressed at the way that you shot through there at the end. So many cars just packed up together, and then you were able to zip through there. This kind of momentum is something that you can carry through to the next week. Is there any specific driver that you were working with, or did you just feel like an opportunist trying to find that moment?
At first, I was gonna raw dog the whole race without joining any Discord channel, and then during practice, I realized that probably wasn't a good idea. So I hopped on the Focum channel. So I kind of leached off of their strategy, listening to Medina and everybody. Best things to do in practices. So a little bit of leeching there. But I thank them for letting me in their channel and kind of learning from them and. Got me a top 3 out of it. So pretty happy with it.
Hey, if you're going to find somebody to follow up on and listen to their strategy, that is a good team to get a hold of. All right, Stephen, before we let you go, bud, anybody out there you want to give a shout out to?
Just want to give a shout out to the Daytona 500 that's starting here in a second. So let's get to watching that, and everybody crack open a beer, have fun, and enjoy your Sunday.
Heck yeah, congratulations. That is the 3rd place finisher. Good job today, Stephen. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Look forward to being back on the podium. Thanks.
Oh, he's laying down the gauntlet, Zach. He said, I'll be back.
Flop right on the table.
That was great. Better than a thwack, because we all know the thwack. All right, so look at those race results there. Jason Kelly, Landry, Jared Kelly, Jason Landry, Stephen Neal. Let's see here. Looks like Joe Volpus ended up surviving his day. He managed to make it up into 10th. Peltz comes back from a lap down to get 14th.
Look at Kirby. We saw Kirby wallop the wall with about 4 to go. Recovers for a top 5. Very nice from the rookie of Stephen Kirby.
That was that pink car, right? That would look good.
Yes. The pink Jordan car. Very good looking car. Got a Daily Drivers Inc. logo on the side of it as well. I'm proud of that. Joey Steyer's finally getting that finish that we know that he's capable of. 7th place for him. Malarkey. Oh boy, guys. Just wait till we get to the playoffs. That 73 Malarkey has tons of speed. Yeah, great recovery from Volpus. Claire as well. Never say die. Leclerc, we saw him a lap down, I believe, at one point. Finishes 11th. Michael Serra, probably not the finish that he hoped he hoped for. We saw him pushing Angle earlier in that race to the lead. Angle coming in 6th, he was up front. Serra only 12th. Yeah, great finish for Angle as well. Be remiss not to shout out Zach Angle. 6th place and definitely with a chance to win, leading lots of laps. Great job from him.
Yeah, Ricky Mandela, Kevin Kyle, a little bit lower than they ran all day long. Schofield, last car on the lead lap, going to finish 20th. Chowdhury, that's unfortunate. That guy, he made an appearance there at the front there at the end. He and Hillman going to finish a lap down. Michael Benton, and that just shows you that persistence pays off. Benton went down early, but he holds on for the 23rd finish. Other guys, Jose Medina, unfortunate, Tommy Fox, and then, of course, remember Mills and Kyle Lynott running so strong at the beginning, but a little too strong, and those guys are going to round out the field 82, 83 laps down, respectively.
Yep, absolutely. Lynott and Mills in our used car lot, as we call it, or as I stole from another broadcaster, if I'm being honest. Now, let's pull up our tournament here, if we could, and let's take a look at who'll be moving on to the next round. So it's going to be David Medina versus Kevin Kyle by the skin of his teeth. In about 19th place, or where was that? Yeah, 18th place, I'm sorry. Moves on. Medina versus Kyle next week. That'll be a fun one. And then Landry versus Kelly, the two friends and rivals, if we're being honest, matching off. That's going to be familiar all season. So I'm glad it's happening in the in-season tournament. That'll be fun to see next week, as we'll see who'll be racing for the in-season championship between those 4.
Man, I can't believe it's down to just 4 guys now.
It happened so fast. And what do you know? What do I say all the time? The cream rises to the top. 4 of our guys that you'll find at the top of our point standings are 4 of the guys racing for the in-season trophy as well. Well, I'm going to not hold everyone here for too much longer because I know we're all eager to go watch the Daytona 500. It's probably about to go green if it hasn't already.
It's time.
It is time. I can't wait. It's going to be a fun one, but that was amazing, and there's a chance that was going to be even better than what we're about to watch here for 3
All right, so
hours.
before we go, I got to know.
Oh, yeah.
Dalton, who are the two guys you're going to call for Daytona today?
Okay, who's your pick and who's your favorite?
Two guys.
Well, my favorite, I'm partial to Tyler Reddick.
Love that guy.
Love that little dude. And you know what? I think over in the Discord I said Joey Logano.
No.
I knew you were gonna say that, but and honestly, I think it could be any of the Penske guys. Those guys have just been tight all weekend. It honestly, it feels like, even zooming out further than that, it feels like a Ford year, and like just specifically a Penske. I think any of the 3 Penske guys are going to take it today. But zooming in, focusing, Joey Logano, probably, in my mind.
Oh,
Ryan Blaney has 4 weight track wins, and none of them are at the 500. So I have my eye on Blaney as well. I'll do mine real quick since I kind of give them away. Favorite's Kyle Larson. Talk about him all the time. And I think Kyle Busch gets it done today. I think I say it every year, but I really, really think it's only about 20 years. I'm not going to compare him to Dale and make him upset here. But it just feels that for me. So I'm thinking Kyle Busch will get it done. But I agree, those Fords, they seem to have the only like actual raw engine speed to be able to, kind of pull away from the field when they need to. So I think it will be hard to beat Penske. They just seem to always have it figured out when it matters, right? They're crazy at Phoenix and they're crazy here. How about you, Mean Gene?
well, you say Bush and you don't want to upset people by making Earnhardt comparisons, but they both did drive cars with 4 wheels. So they do have that in common. Well, it is no secret. If you've seen any of the broadcasts, you know that I am a Joey Logano fan. And as for my pick, I am going to, you got to swallow that back down. 3 times. Joey 3 times. For my pick today, I'm going to stick with the Penske thing, and I'm going to say Blaney. That guy is just so fast. And after the way that I saw Austin Cindric communicate with Joey Logano after the duel, just basically blowing him off, and you could read Cindric's lips after Joey talked to him, and Cindric said, well, I won, and walked away. So I would expect at some point that Blaney and Joey are just going to leave that guy out to hang. So I'm going to go with Blaney.
I think Blaney is also looking at Joey and then you're the champion, and I helped you win the one.
Yeah, it's my turn.
My turn, exactly. And you already have a 500. I agree. I'm a huge Ryan Blaney fan. As a Larson fan, like every other Larson fan thinks, I think he is the best driver probably in the country. I think he's unbelievable. But if this makes sense, I think Ryan Blaney's the best driver in NASCAR right now. He is so good at what it takes to be amazing at NASCAR, right? I don't think he can go do what Larson did at the Indy 500, but I do think Ryan Blaney can beat anybody any given day. He is just so strong. It's been away for about 2 or 3 years. He could be a back-to-back champion just as easy as Logano could be a 3-timer.
So, what do you think, Showboat? Who are you going to pick?
Yeah, what do you think, Jared? Yeah, honestly. It's pretty heavy, though. Were you what?
So I don't know if he had to unmute for that, or if the broadcast didn't hear that.
If he was muted, then he was muted. Well, he chose his favorites, Kyle Busch, and he chose himself. Jared Kelly is who he thinks is going to win the Daytona 500. I did that last week, Jared. For a long longer.
It's not fair.
Yep. Good eye, Dalton. Yeah, I did that not too long ago. But so before when we go off the air here, we'll leave the stream, or if you want to pull it up one more time, Jared, we'll leave that open so you guys can scan that QR code if you'd like. We'll stay on the air just with that on for a little bit. But we hope to see you guys over there. We'll probably go live, 15, 20 minutes from now, whenever Buddy has it all figured out. He is the most amazing head of tech ever, and he's doing it on one arm right now, and with the new kid. So he's just doing it all. But we can't wait to hang out with you guys. We're going to watch the 500 together. It's going to be a great time. You have to hang out with a bunch of guys that you just saw on the track and in the booth today. But my final thoughts for this one today, that was an amazing race. What else would you expect for Daytona? But it can get sloppy quick and close to unwatchable quick. And that is not what we saw today. And that's what you expect from this awesome league. And it's just like last week where we got to, before the Super Bowl, watch a great race. Today, before the Daytona 500, the Super Bowl racing, we got to just enjoy a great race. So I love these Sunday morning races to start our Sundays off right, especially on days like today when we have something awesome to follow it that we can go all watch together. So first of all, I'm going to thank you, Dalton, for joining us today. We talked a lot about BRN today. You guys will get to know BRN a little bit better if you come join us in that stream. Dalton Geyer will be joining that team with us, so you'll be hearing more of him, whether it be on the producing end or whether it be on the commentating end as a color. And it was a great opportunity to bring you in today, Dalton. It was a pleasure to have you. Having a Daytona 500 iRacing champion in the booth with us was a lot of fun. There's not a ton of you guys out there that I know. So thank you so much for delivering your insight and hanging out with us this morning and waking up early over in the West Coast like I'm at. It's early over here, guys. So thank you so much, Dalton. And any final thoughts from you before we get out of here?
Hey, well, you called me in as an expert because I've won one of those Daytona 500 splits. But hey, you know what? With how many splits there are, there's hundreds and hundreds of those Daytona 500 winners every year. But hey, you feel like you're the only one when you do win it. So that's and that's out of thousands and thousands of people who attempt it. So it still feels special. But yeah, it was so nice to be here with you guys today. You guys made me feel so welcome, and it like I said at the beginning, it's an honor. Two legends. Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, of course, Dalton. It was absolutely a pleasure, man. Oh gosh, guys, I'm already seeing reports for 500. Not green yet, I don't think, and rain is around the corner, so we are going to have a long day together. Oh boy, I can't wait. And more final thoughts today. My tag team partner, Mean Gene Money. Always a pleasure having you on Sundays and Mondays. Can't wait for tomorrow. We get to sleep here and I think wake up and do it at the same track and talk about MRL. So join us tomorrow at this same racetrack with a lot of the same characters. But today was a great time, and this series just gets more and more intense. Only a handful of races to go in the regular season, and only 2 to go.
Yeah, Darlington next week.
Yeah, and we're going to a Lady in Black next week. One of my favorite racetracks, and the reason why, Gene, is because it's everyone else's least favorite. I love that place. It's such a good time, but you're going to see, I'm going to say it again, the cream rise to the top next week. That place more than anywhere we're going to see it happen. Love that place. I'm excited. What are you thinking next week, Gene, and what are your thoughts about today?
Well, first of all, he keeps saying 2 legends, but he's looking past us at the picture of Eli Gold and Darrell Waltrip on the wall. So just to clarify, not talking about us. Heck of a race. We saw a lot of green flag. We saw that green flag caution, which separated the group. You could really see the skill level of drivers that had taken the time to practice that rather than just running laps by themselves in practice. That doesn't help anyone. Practicing those pits is always essential for everybody at every level. We saw some teamwork. We saw some aggression. So I just can't wait to see what happens next week. I looked at the chatter after the race. Not a lot of angry people. Don't expect anything to carry over into the next week. So just looking for some more clean, exciting racing here from Bonfire come next Sunday, and cannot wait for the Daytona 500. Looks like there's some rain on there, but they're expecting it to clear up pretty soon.
Yeah, that gives us the window we need to get ready and get on the air. So, hey, I think we may have caused that with some artificial clouds, so working just as we planned.
The polar vortex. So.
Yeah, we didn't name it vortex. Yeah, we all got food coming too. We didn't name it vortex for nothing. We control the vortex theory, but that's why we do it. But yeah, I agree, me and Gene. Next week's going to be a dramatic one. And yeah, who would have thunk it? Less hurt feelings at Daytona than Kansas. That's honestly kind of funny. I love that. But that was, to me, a picture-perfect Daytona race. That's exactly what you want to see. Any good Daytona race has its accidents, has its wrecks. It just adds to the drama, but it doesn't get messy. And it ends with integrity, and that's what we saw today. And with a winner that I like when plate track races prove to everybody that still the most talented drivers are who are going to fight up front, and that's what we saw today. So that was great. We're going to leave this on the screen for a little bit, guys. So scan that QR code, youtube.com/@Vortex Race Network. Go ahead and subscribe up. Get ready for us to go live. We will see you guys on the track, the Daytona 500, in a little bit for some hanging out. Can't wait for that. But as far as the Bonfire Racing League is concerned, another great week of racing at the most iconic tracks in the world, and it absolutely delivered. Next week, it's just going to get more and more difficult. They're going to be asking everything out of these drivers, as we only have a handful of races left until it's playoff time. and it's only getting more and more dramatic. So thank you all. Thank you, Dalton Geyer from VRN for joining us. Mean Gene Money, my tag team partner. You are amazing as always. Thank you to Animal House for sponsoring this broadcast. Check them out at animalhousecustoms.com. They do incredible work, and we are so lucky to have them as a sponsor. So please check them out. Give them your business. They do the best work out there for you, custom print work. And finally, a big shout out to our winner today and our awesome producer, Jared Kelly, who's always bringing us the best coverage, camera angles, making this as top tier as possible. From all of us over here at the Bonfire Racing League Premier Cup Series, thank you all. And we will see you next Sunday with the Lady in Black at one of the most difficult tracks we're going to see all season in Darlington.